Is Team 1 with us on the call today? Yes. All right. Team 1, ID 29. We have Jude, Rosalie, Zoya, and Renata Usmanova. Just a reminder that I'm going to keep your time for you today. I'm going to give you a warning when you have 2 minutes left, and then another when you have 30 seconds left. So please keep to 10 minutes, and then we'll have a few minutes for questions afterwards. So I'll be clicking the slides for you. So when you want me to go to the next slide, just let me know. And I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Team 1, you guys can start. I think you're on mute.
Right, sorry. Greetings to Mr. Shahada, Ms. Manning, and Mr. McKelty. My name is Zoya Mumtaz, and I am joined today by my teammates, Jude Dabus, Rosalie Stankova, and Renata Usmanova. We're delighted to present to you today our strategy for the ACSL moving forward. Next slide. Our agenda for today consists of the current situation, as well as outlining the objectives that we will address in our strategies, going through a three-pillar approach of globalization, innovation, and marketing, as well as wrapping that up with our implementation strategy. Next slide.
Our executive summary is winning internationally by expanding to global markets, anchoring equity initiative, and CSR to build brand affinity with a purpose. We will innovate disruptively to drive supply chain efficiencies and achieve prosperity. Next slide, please.
ACSL has great expectations politically, economically, and in terms of its social welfare. We've identified opportunities for the company. The ACSL framework will be anchored in 3 pillars. A, to win internationally by capturing first mover advantage in emerging markets and achieve globalization. B, driving differentiated innovation to help ACSL leverage corporate social responsibility. And C, building brand affinity and penetration via marketing. These 3 pillars will be implemented to drive sustainable growth. Next slide, please.
We'll start with tackling down the first pillar of globalization, for which we have chosen 4 key regions where we aim to lay out our global expansion strategy. This involves global expansion in 4 phases using the small markets first approach to gain first mover advantage in emerging markets. Phase 1 involves markets that are easier to enter and provides ACSL with abundant learning opportunities to help them benchmark and acquire new skills and ideas from the many existing drone businesses in the region. So this would make Southeast Asia an excellent fit. The commercial drones in Southeast Asia are used for agricultural and disaster prevention purposes, which are much like the products ACSL has to offer. In addition, most of the raw materials necessary for drone production are actually manufactured in the region, so there are many suppliers. This lowers transportation costs to potentially achieve economies of scale and thereby giving ACSL yet another competitive advantage. Next slide, please.
Phase 2 involves penetrating into regions that are relatively easy to enter and have high growth potential. In the UAE, the commercial sector, we have identified the Middle East as a substantial Phase 2 region because expanding here in the earlier stages of this agenda will allow ACSL to establish strong brand recognition and customer loyalty before prospective competitors enter, allowing ACSL to set the market price in the commercial drone sector. The specific countries that have high growth potential include the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Israel. The Global Market Report specifically identifies these regions to exhibit an annual growth rate of 9.3%. Developing a distribution network while also adopting e-commerce in the Middle East will accelerate digital penetration in countries such as the UAE due to the presence of many franchising chains. Next slide, please.
I believe you're on mute.
Sorry. Moving on to our next targeted Phase 3 region, which is Europe. Many world-leading local and foreign companies are looking to expand here, which is a big threat to rising startups. Despite this strong competition, ACSL has managed to differentiate itself by providing highly technological and customizable products, allowing them to charge reasonably. However, the absence of unification of laws can prove to be a challenge, which can be overcome by expanding in a region through distribution networks. We've decided to concentrate on the bigger markets in Europe, including France, Switzerland, Germany, UK, Finland, and Denmark. Being present in all of these technologically developed and highly competitive countries would give ACSL a quick start in expanding throughout Europe and moving on to Asia eventually. Next slide, please.
Phase 4 involves penetrating into countries that are competitive to enter, as they involve a greater risk and knowledge of the market to flourish. Now, we have identified Asia as a substantial region due to its expected growth rate of over 15% during the next 5 years. The top countries we suggest for market expansion in Asia are Russia, China, India, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Australia. These countries will occupy the top-tier positions in the global drone market. Asia accounted for 40% of worldwide e-commerce sales, much of which was concentrated in these countries. The company will have a competitive advantage entering these markets as it will have adequate market data, sales channels, and understanding of complex legal systems and different business cultures. Moreover, there are many manufacturing suppliers which will prove to be beneficial for ACSL's future productional initiatives. Higher rates of investment and equities in tech companies allow ACSL to maintain sustainability. Next slide.
As part of
The company
Sorry.
will enter the regional markets in the order of the phases through franchising, distribution network, and e-commerce, allowing it to maintain its ownership, reduce the total cost of manufacturing their own products, as well as control the production requirements in each region. The implementation of the global expansion strategy will be spread over the course of 2 to 3 years, along with which the company is projected to show high scalability and growth. Next slide.
As part of the innovation pillar, we recommend ACSL to liberate humanity with a purpose by making a positive impact on the environment and the society to improve their triple bottom line. We have identified solutions that could help tackle specific global issues in our world today. Firstly, the growing concern of e-waste is a challenge in many developing nations as it contains many toxic chemicals that harm the health of the environment. We have developed a potential new product idea which uses multispectral remote sensing imagery to detect and monitor the release and possibly the dispersal of heavy metal contaminants by analyzing the geochemical inventory on the targeted site.
The second product development idea is, in times of crisis such as COVID-19, ACSL should use their products to reduce the spread of the virus by developing body temperature detecting drones. Using ACSL's current technology, such as their infrared light technology, would be an effective way for mass detection in crowds. The development would involve temperature scans and an alert system. Next slide, please.
You guys have 2 minutes left.
The last pillar focuses on our aim to deploy strategies that fit the interests of consumers and the advances in the digital market. Effective marketing will help address issues in the supply chain while also improving brand reputation.
Our first objective in our marketing pillar will improve ACSL's brand affinity and image in the targeted as well as existing markets. This involves participating in global and local tech events in the respective regions, such as Global Drone Conference, the Interdrone in Las Vegas, the UMEX in Middle East, UAS Summit and Expo, and also the European Drone Summit. Participating in showcasing the company's products at tech events will provide valuable insights and advice from industry experts. It will also contribute towards brand recognition and really allow ACSL to scale the startups effectively and expose the company to prospective customers and investors.
Secondly, in a culturally diverse world, it is crucial to preserve cultural norms by adapting to the trends in certain regions. We recommend that ACSL implements a renaming strategy for their core products to suit each region and differentiate their products by building market appeal, uniqueness, and brand buzz. Currently, ACSL's core products include PF2 and the Me. In Asia, Wave Rider, Hurricane, and Sky Monkey are names that aim to market ACSL's social responsibility practices. This associates their drones with their disaster relief functions. In the Middle East, appealing and creative names include Airbender, Falcon, and Altair, which means pilot in Arabic.
Next slide, please. In an increasingly digitized world, it is important to adapt to current consumer trends by investing in an ACSL mobile application, an app that allows for consumers to customize and view a digital 3D model of the drone. This strategy would benefit the supply chain by increasing their low capacity utilization rate, which according to our calculations, currently stands at 10 to 16% per month.
That's
The
time
application
for now, guys.
would
Thank you very much. We're out of time. So now we'll move on to questions.
All right.
All right, I'm just gonna fire off my question before I forget it. Thank you guys, you've done fantastic. Just a clarification. The 4 phases that you presented, are they working simultaneously, or you're just gonna work a phase and then jump to the second phase and third and then fourth?
We're starting with phase 1, proceeding to phase 2 afterwards, phase 3 afterwards, and finishing with phase 4.
And how long this will take?
The span of the whole project is 2 to 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question, guys. Thanks very much. I can see that the teamwork, was really great, and you're all fantastic presenters. I was just wondering whether you considered the developing world at all in your analysis.
Sorry, the what? Can you repeat?
The developing countries or third world countries, any applications in those areas?
Yes, definitely. So especially the e-waste problem would help help the developing countries.
Yeah, along with the drones we have talked about for helping disasters and preventing disasters, along with agricultural purposes, such as using pesticides is quite harmful to the people using them and working with them. Therefore, developing a drone that would deal with pesticides would be very beneficial to third world countries.
It would also help ACSL increase their triple bottom line, so they could benefit long-term, they could benefit the economy, society, and the environment, which would be very beneficial towards their long-term growth.
We have a couple more minutes. Any more questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. I think well done to the team. I think you worked well as a team. My question is, in terms of your marketing capabilities, how are you thinking of creating awareness for your solutions?
Creating awareness for these. We thought of a billboard marketing strategy in which we aim to gain brand awareness. Billboard advertising would actually be an effective way of mass marketing and to attract potential customers, especially in urban areas in existing markets such as Singapore, US, and Japan, which they currently operate in.
Additionally, we were thinking of the new products and disaster help would be, it would be broadcasted on news, and that would be some sort of marketing without paying extra for it.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from the judges? No? Well, thank you guys very much You did super well, and I'm so excited that you were our first team for this competition today, for this round. I really enjoyed hearing about your solutions. I think you did a wonderful job presenting, and please make sure to join us when the winners are announced at 2:20 p.m. UK time. We'll see you back then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Team 2, ID number 82. Please welcome Samara, Aisha, and Vishak to present today. As a reminder, you guys are going to have 10 minutes to present your case. You will have a warning at 2 minutes and a warning at 30 seconds left. So that's 2 minutes left and 30 seconds left. And then there will be 5 minutes for Q&A after you've finished presenting. So are you guys all ready to go? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready to begin? Video's on. Excellent. Please make sure that you're not on mute when you need to talk. That can sometimes happen accidentally. So let's begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your time starts now.
In this entire presentation, we have provided ACSL with 3 recommendations to help them step into the global world and create an innovative image, all while keeping their original essence intact. Next slide.
Analyzing current situations is a crucial step in order to derive a solution to a business decision. A pestle table can correlate the current situations and evaluate the circumstances in various global markets to assess a solution. Politically, the historical peace deal between UAE and Israel that continues to grow to other Middle Eastern countries could signify major changes in the Middle Eastern drone market. Tensions are continuing to escalate between India and China at the border. This signifies a massive advantage for ACSL over its Chinese competitors. The US presidential elections also align with ACSL, as the major decisions will have to be taken in international relations by the incumbent party. Economical situations are highly in favor of ACSL. China's trade relations with countries such as US and India have worsened. Thus, companies like DJI Innovations have little to no chance of being welcomed by significant drone markets. Japan's GDP fell 7.8% in the second quarter, but there are signs of improvement. Socially and technologically, the drone market is witnessing remarkable changes, especially in the delivery drone and satellite drone market. Environmentally, ACSL has many chances globally for providing disaster relief, especially due to various natural calamities in India, Australia, California, etc. Legally, the European regulations pose a minor threat, while the Australian regulations will not affect their consumer preferences for drones. Next slide.
I believe you might be on mute.
Looking at the strength of ACSL's number one strength is that they own a peripheral technology and system building, whereas DJI's strengths are they have an incredible reputation and brand loyalty. However, there's one thing we can adapt from 3D robotics into brand equity. It's their number one strength for sure. Coming to weaknesses, DJI are higher in cost, and not only higher in cost, but have multiple competitors with lower prices. 3DR are diverse enough, given that most of its growth so far is in the domestic market. ACSL's less brand promotion and lack of advertising of products are the 2 main causes of ACSL lacking. ACSL's main opportunities are merging with new companies and collaborating with companies to provide drones. And ACSL's main opportunities are increased presence in professional industries, and 3DR's is access to global talent in international market. And the threat of 3DR is forced component to work in developed market because of the environmental regulations. And DJI's threat is the legal limitations, and ACSL's threat are the less brand promotion and lack of participation in events. And again, these are the same points that cause ACSL a lot. Next slide.
The global market is set to grow from $22.5 billion to $42.8 billion in the span of 5 years. This fairly stable year-on-year growth, as you can see in the graph, is a reflection of the ongoing high investments and consolidation of the commercial drone market.
And as for competitors in the global market, the major player here is India Innovation, a Chinese company that holds around 70% of the global commercial market, has been banned in the United States, concluding it's a dynamic and a new market and will hence be proved beneficial for ACSL. Next slide, please. Business use cases for drones have grown significantly over the past few years. As you see the table, I think focusing on delivery is a good option.
Drone delivery. As Samara said, drone delivery is one of the fastest growing applicable methods in the global market. There are numerous delivery companies that are rapidly increasing the technological capability of drones. In fact, back in 2019, the largest drone investment was made to a delivery company called Zipline. Since 2012, more than 300 million US dollars have been invested in drone delivery. Next slide.
With this, we delve into our recommendation of expanding to Australia. The first subsection of this recommendation is for ACSL to provide disaster relief drones to analyze the extent of damages that materialized to the Australian bushfires. Disaster relief projects are one of the foremost important approaches for enhancing public relations or PR. PR projects, when planned and taken into action properly, is one of the best methods to ensure effective advertising. This is because consumers and people in general feel more persuaded to buy the products of a company that proves it is functioning for the betterment of society for the future generations. By advertising to disaster relief projects in Australia, ACSL will derive a solution to one of their main problems: lack of effective advertising and brand promotion. The ACSL brand has huge scopes of attaining a rare and valuable status, especially due to its valuable technology R&D. Through effective advertising, ACSL's drones are highly customizable and intricately manufactured to gain maximal profits. Next slide, please.
Recommendation 1B, merging with defense technology manufacturer. Merging with a military drone manufacturer to produce differentiated military and defense drones. The military spending is considered to be more than half of the entire market. As you see the pie here, 70% of the sales is of military drones. Wherever the rise in external and internal threat and terrorist activities are also impacting the market to grow government sector. The Australian military is open to new advanced differentiated products from foreign countries. This gives ACSL an edge over Australian military in the military drone market. This way, ACSL should launch delivery drones and merge with military drones and merge with a defense technology manufacturer. Next slide.
Next slide, please. Recommendation 1C, manufacture of agriculture drones. The agriculture drone market is set to grow from 1.2 billion to 5.7 billion in just a span of 5 years. A few key factors during the growth of this market are pressure on global food supply due to the growing population and increase on venture funding for the development of agriculture drones. ACSL's core technology is suitable to adapt agriculture drones. All they have to do is add a few tweaks here and there, and they can take on Australia's blooming agriculture industry. Not only that, but this can turn into a huge attraction for the Indian drone market, which is set to be the largest drone market by 2025. Next slide, please.
Potential opportunities in Australia. There are numerous potential opportunities in Australia that ACSL incorporate themselves in. We already scrutinized into military and agriculture drones, manufacturing, and reduce competition from Chinese competitors due to trade relations in the previous slides. So further starting off with number 1, our thought of focusing on the delivery drone industry where ACSL can prosper. The idea can take place in Australia.
Team, you have 2 minutes left.
Australia is a pioneer in the delivery drone industry and e-commerce giant, so we should step in and sell our capability too for huge profits. Number 2, ACSL's studio-released air sliders drone can anticipate a stupendous release, especially due to the Australian government release for sewage and pipeline drones, inspecting drones, so because of the heavy rains in Australia.
Number 3, by expanding to Australia, ACSL can make its mark on 3 continents on the world map. Rather than expanding to a country within Asia or North America where ACSL has already extended its arms, expanding to an entirely independent continent will help ACSL fulfill its internationalization strategy and mission. Next slide, please. This is what ACSL can do by expanding to Australia. In Q4 2020, ACSL should be looking forward to making its mark and forming connections in Australia to disaster relief projects and delivery drones. In Q1 2021, ACSL should start focusing on taking steps for gaining maximal profits in its operations in Australia through mainly effective advertising and governmental connections. In Q2 2021, ACSL should look into differentiating themselves with the profits they gain from Q1 and look into new products and mergers with companies like Defentex. From Q3 2021 onwards, ACSL should undertake efforts to continue its internationalization for the future. Such timeline is profitable, serviceable, and at the same time, realistic. Next slide, please.
Would like
30 seconds left.
That these are not, we don't guarantee that these will be the only areas ACSL will receive, but we do guarantee that these areas will start ACSL's journey from a very good place. And while stepping into a new market like ACSL is, they need to start from a good place. And finally, we'd like to say that these ideas will lead you to flight. Thank you.
Thank you, team. You guys have done an amazing job. Really wonderful presentation. You guys work great as a team. We're now going to have 5 minutes of questions from the judges.
Okay, I'll fire up here.
Go
ahead, Janine. Go ahead.
I was really interested in your point about merging and collaborating with other companies as a way of sort of moving into that more global or international space. Can you just give me a little bit more around your thinking in that regard, and also whether you identified any companies that would be potentials to merge or collaborate with?
ACSL is a good brand, but as we said, it's because it's less brand promotion. It's not that it has not got the name yet. So the idea of merging with a defense technology manufacturer is because military drones are more than half of the entire market. So and ACSL has does not have the technology to design, or it has technology. It has a core technology. It does not have the technology to design or to additional adapt the military drones. So the idea of merging with a already defense technology manufacturer company and launching military drones would be a benefit for ACSL. Thank you.
And sorry, I'd also like to say that we have a company in mind. For example, Defentex. Defentex is an innovative Australian-owned and operated defense technology company specializing in small arms development using new fabrication techniques to facilitate the rapid testing and manufacturing of new designs. They work closely with the Australian Defence Force, and just in July, they signed the $2 million contract with the Australian Defence Force to develop rocket-propelled grenade technology. So, yeah, thank you.
Any further questions, judges?
Yeah, Alfred, I just want to say thanks to the team. Well done. My question is, obviously, you've identified quite a number of opportunities, and so I'd be very interested to see where would you start? Which of the opportunities do you think is a low-hanging fruit?
Could you repeat once again? Wasn't able to hear you correctly.
Okay, I'll repeat. I was saying that you have identified quite a number of opportunities for your solution. I'd be interested to know where would you start?
We would start obviously by advertisements. Like we said, ACSL is an amazing company, but it hasn't, yet quite made its image yet, because people, when you say ACSL, people are not able to identify the company. Whereas other companies' names you take, there's a picture in mind. While ACSL, it's a good company, but it doesn't have a picture. So I think we'll start by advertisements, and then we'll go on to our, other recommendations.
Thank you.
Any further questions, judges? All right. Well, thank you, team. And make sure to join us again when we announce the winners. We really look forward to seeing you. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Team 3, ID number 116. And today we have Harsha, Siddhans, Raghav, and Ahad here representing Team 3. Team 3, as a reminder, you're going to have 10 minutes to present your case. You're going to get a warning both in the chat and called out to you when you have 2 minutes left, and another one when you have 30 seconds left. Just a reminder that I will be controlling the slides. So do let me know when you want me to click through to the next slide, but we're really excited to hear what you've got for us today. So with that, your time will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, I'm Raghav.
I'm Ahad.
I'm Harsha.
And we are the Wolves of Wall Street.
And our fourth member is Sid, and we are the Wolves of Wall Street. In our presentation about removing barriers for ACSL, we'll take you through the current situation in terms of the company, the target market, and our competitors. Then we'll move on to our recommendations. These mainly being offering drones as a service and delivering medical supplies, improving design, and introducing a new marketing strategy. Finally, we'll bring it all together with our own version of the SWOT analysis, our timeline, and our financials. After that, we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Our objective is to make ACSL the alpha wolf of the drone industry. Next, please.
Now, every alpha wolf starts off as a cub, and this is our current situation. We're the first publicly listed drone company worldwide. We rely on our long-term clients for revenue, and our flagship products are currently the PF2 medium-sized drone and the mini drone. From this, we synthesized two main goals. In the short term, we want to increase our demand for our flagship products, and the long term, we want to breach international industries in emerging markets. We plan on doing this using our three-pronged fulfillment strategy you can see in the bottom right of your screen. Next slide, please. We also have two key target markets, small and medium enterprises and medical aid organizations. Why did we choose these target markets? In the middle of your screen, you can see that the total market for medical distribution in Africa is $28.56 billion US, and the value that drones can provide in the infrastructure industry is $45.2 billion US. So these target markets have a lot of potential. But if it was this easy, you guys would have done it in a heartbeat. There are two key things standing in our way. Firstly, the average SME can only afford one of our drones per annum if they use all of their tech spending. And the second thing is that the average inspection using drones varies between 1 to 2 hours, while our battery life is only 48 minutes. So what can we take away from this? Firstly, our current pricing strategy is not suited for SMEs. Secondly, there's a large market of aid to capitalize on, and we need to improve our battery life. Next slide, please. Now, we want to target emerging markets. And when we penetrate those same markets, it's very important that we understand who we're up against. And we've chosen three main companies to do so. IdeaForge, an Indian company who focuses on military drone use cases. DJI, the biggest drone provider in the world, as well as a Chinese company who focuses on all drone industries. And SenseFly, a Swiss company that focuses on the demographics of Tanzania and Kenya for humanitarian drone use cases. Now, when it comes to purchasing these drones, there are two main things that consumers care about: affordability and the quality of the drones, as well as its after-sales care. And taking all those points into consideration, in terms of the chart on the left, here is where all those companies rank. Now, ACSL is currently doing great amongst these companies. However, as responsible consultants, it's our duty not to settle for great. We believe that our recommendations will propel ACL to become the frontrunner amongst this wolf pack. Next slide, please.
So on to our first recommendation. You've heard about hardware as a service and you've heard about software as a service, but we bet you haven't heard about drones as a service yet. We've identified that our drones are currently not appealing to SMEs. So we recommend a change in the current business model in emerging markets. We'll do this by introducing a subscription-based model for the PF2 drone. This will be priced at $6,000 USD per quarter. Along with this, we'll develop software for default turnkey implementation into companies' pre-existing workflows. So what will be achieved with this recommendation? We'll be reducing our time to value. We'll be penetrating emerging markets, starting with the MENA region and then moving on to India. and we'll also be increasing our per drone revenue by 39%. Next slide, please.
Now, we've all heard this saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But have you heard the saying, a drone a day keeps 112 doctors away? Because that's exactly what this drone on your screen can do. With its 4 kg payload, it can immunize up to 112 people from polio, could give us a potential business of 22 million US dollars, and in the long term could immunize up to 80,000 people from polio. But how are we going to do this? Using our comparative advantage of our drones being able to work autonomously in GPS-denied areas using our AP3 technology, we will breach international emerging markets to work with international aid organizations to provide medical supplies in these following organizations. This also allows us to get a foothold in the MENA region, which is predicted to be one of the fastest growing industries for drones, growing at a predicted rate of 600% to reach 632 million in 2025. Next slide, please.
Now, to be the alpha wolf of the wolf pack, we need to be the strongest, and that means having the best design. We will do this with our 3-pronged strategy for design. Firstly, we will innovate to lithium metal batteries. These provide a higher energy density and would double the battery life. Second, modular design. This is essentially a detachable camera, which would allow us to only change the camera for different consumers in the drones as a service. And finally, as you can see in the mock-up on the right, an API designed cleanly and specifically for its purpose. Next slide, please. Now it's time to work on our image, and we will do this through the 4 P's of marketing: price, making our drones more accessible as a service, and further reducing prices with the corporate referral program, which we'll talk about more later; product, which is use-specific products, and as can be seen in the mock-up on the right, a clean and simple API interface to use; and place. SMEs worldwide and African nations for aid will be our target market.
In addition to those P's, our USP of the marketing strategy is the promotion aspect. We want to institute a corporate referral program, which will provide companies with a 10% discount for referring us to 5 others on their next order, thereby increasing our revenue streams and potential for new clients. Now, why do we want to do this exactly? Well, through humanitarian advertising, we want to spread the message about our medical aid distribution efforts, as well as further spread the message that we're a revolutionary company in these industries. Next slide, please.
Now it's time for our version of the SWOT analysis, the SWOTer. As responsible consultants, we feel that we should not only show ACSL the barriers to entry, but also how we're going to overcome them. Our key strengths are that we remove the high barrier to entry drones have, and we advertise like wildfire through the CRP program. Our key weakness is that there's a potential for high drone downtime. Our key opportunities are gaining a foothold in emerging markets and providing unprecedented customization that SMEs desire. Our key threat is that copying is possible, so speed to market is essential. We've mitigated these risks using 3 main strategies of risk mitigation. We've accounted for drone downtime in our calculations. We plan to ease marketing investment gradually, and we have ensured that there's sufficient R&D investment to support the speed to market plan. Next slide, please.
So now moving on to what's the timeline for our recommendations. The first stage is planning, which we plan for to be Q4 of 2020. In this stage, we can develop software, we can do our initial due diligence, and as well as the budgeting for marketing. The next stage is execution. This involves elements such as expansion into emerging markets for drones as a service, delivering medical supplies for international aid, and introducing the CRP program for marketing. We believe this can be started from Q1. And in the long term, we recommend that ACSL reevaluate its key objectives to mitigate the risks of changing market conditions. Next slide, please.
You have 2 minutes left.
Now I know what all of you are thinking after all of that qualitative analysis. Show me the money. Well, we've segregated our financials into 3 main categories: our costs, our customer growth projections, and our revenue growth projections. As can be seen on the left of the screen, our costs include a $20,000 software development cost, a 10% investment from our R&D budget into modular design, a 10% reduction in revenue from our corporate referral program, and loss of maintenance revenue. However, if you would direct your attention to the graph on the top left of the screen, from our subscription model, we project that we'll have 35 customers coupled with just over $80 million in revenue by the end of Q4 2023. And the graph on the bottom left shows that our international aid solutions will bring us 10 customers coupled with $85 million yen in revenue by that same time frame. Now, taking into account our reduction in revenue as well as other costs, We project that our solutions have the potential of bringing ACSL 163 million yen in revenue that translates to just over $1.5 million US in the next 3 years. Next slide, please.
So in conclusion, our drones as a service recommendation increases the affordability and it helps us in expanding into emerging markets. Delivering medical supplies helps us in increasing humanitarian business for ACSL. Improving our design helps us improve the quality of our drones, and increasing marketing helps in gaining a foothold in emerging markets. In conclusion, we believe that with our recommendations, ACSL can
30 seconds left.
Thank you. In conclusion, we believe that with our recommendations, ACSL can truly become the alpha wolf of Drone Street. Thank you. And now we'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, judges, let's go through some questions.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think it was really good focusing on sort of one broad market, and I like your sort of design-led or creative approach to the solution. Obviously backed up with quite a lot of data and analysis there, so good job there. I'm sure I could use you all in some of my startups to do some work for me. I've written down as my question, have you thought about what the next sort of broad market would be after you've nailed the medical supplies or the humanitarian angle in the emerging nations?
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. Manning, for your question. That's a good question. So as my colleague Raghav mentioned, we first want to target the MENA region and then India in the long term, because those are the fastest growing markets that we're aware of. In the materials provided to us, we learned that India is the fastest growing market, predicted to reach the third highest valuation by 2025. So after the MENA region, we do plan on going for the Indian market as well. I hope that answers your question.
Any further questions, judges?
Yeah, I just want to say well done to the team. I think you've done great in terms of analysis of the issues. But my question is, I'm missing one piece in your presentation, which is the regulation of drones in specific areas. How are you going to attend to that?
Great question, Mr. Shahada. So we've done our market research and we found that most drone regulation is for security reasons, and we don't violate any of these regulations. Also, the nations that we're targeting of the MENA region, especially North Africa, are extremely open for business. And there are many organizations such as the African Business Coalition for Health who help foreign companies set up inside these nations. And we believe that this mitigates our risk of regulation. Thank you.
Any further questions?
I was just going to say, I really enjoyed it, guys. Good job. Excellent. I think you are just focused, and it's something that excites me that you guys thought outside the box. So good job. That's what I have for you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Apologies, Mr. Makotsi, for mixing you up with Mr. Shahada. The Zoom names are a bit confusing. I'm really sorry.
Happens to the best of us.
No problem. Thank you.
Whereabouts are you guys from? Are you all from one school?
Yes, miss. We're all from Dubai International Academy.
Thank you.
Any further questions, judges? No? Okay, thank you very much. You guys did a brilliant job. I'm really excited to see the case solutions that you've presented to us today. Please make sure to come back and join us when we're going to be announcing the winners of this round in a few hours. Thank you, team.
So much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, judges. Have a great
day, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Team 4. We have ID number 170. Wait, just joining us. All right, team 4. So today we have Adia, Manvita, Kate, and Roshni. Team 4, we're very, very excited to hear your solutions today. So a couple of ground notes before I begin. You're going to have 10 minutes to present your case. I will be controlling the slide, so do let me know when you want me to click to the next slide. You will have a warning both in the chat and called out to you when you have 2 minutes left and when you have 30 seconds left. And we'll follow that with a 5-minute question and answer session. Just remember to make sure that you're not on mute in case you have to speak up when it's your turn. Your 10 minutes is going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. We are Victrix, and this is our expansion plan proposal for ACSL. My name is Roshni, and I'll be talking you through the agenda and executive summary. Manvi will then talk you through our expansion plan into Germany before Kate explains our expansion plan into agriculture in Japan. Finally, Adja will then go through our financial projections and timeline with you. We will then open it up for questions. Next slide, please. Established in 2013, ACSL has grown into a well-established and reliable drone manufacturer. They create custom-made drones to fly in GPS-denied environments. Despite their growth, ACSL remains a relatively small firm, producing only about 5 drones a month, despite having the capability to make up to 50 drones per month. Therefore, without a viable expansion plan, ACSL will be able to take full advantage of the projected global growth of the industry, which is estimated to be worth $42.8 billion by 2025, double its value in 2020. In order to take advantage of the massive profits available in this industry within the next decade, we have devised a 2-step expansion strategy for ACSL by considering various sources such as analyzing ACSL's market competitors, assessing countries with the most potential for expansion, and considering ACSL's technological capabilities. First, beginning in late 2022, we are proposing an expansion into Germany, focusing primarily on the sale of drones for inspection and reconnaissance in industry. Our second proposal is an expansion into the agricultural market in Japan, beginning at the end of this year. I will now hand over to Manvi to explain our expansion plan into Germany.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Roshni. Our first proposal is an expansion into Germany. Why Germany, you may ask? We have assessed 6 potential countries for expansion. We considered market value, potential competitors, drone legislation, future market projections, most popular uses for drones within the countries, and cultural factors such as how they would view Japan. The German commercial drone market accounts for 404 million euros and is growing incredibly rapidly. ACSL's expertise in the market allows them to take advantage of the relatively new industry. Germany also doesn't have a huge market dominance. Their legislation and drone policy is not overtly stringent, and Germans have a very positive view of Japan. Finally, the forecast for market development predicts a significant rise in the sales and turnover of commercial drones over the next 10 years in Germany. There are several potential risks with our proposal. However, we have identified numerous precautions which we can take to mitigate those issues, such as regular security updates, marketing to promote reliability, and stock control. Next slide, please. To gain insight into the market, we have completed extensive industry analysis using several sources, including websites, news articles, third-party industry reviews. We have even directly contacted a few firms to gain more insight into the financial status and product details of our competitors. ACSL's main competitor is DJI. Their international dominance gives them an advantage, but they lack customizability of products, giving ACSL a competitive advantage. As the German market is relatively young, most other German-based firms do not pose much of a threat to ACSL's mission. Furthermore, demand is plentiful within Germany, with surveying holding 79% of total market share. As ACSL's expertise lies within this area, unlike for these other firms, they will be at the forefront of the race to deliver new products to clients. Being mindful of all this competition, we have identified areas in which ACSL will be able to improve and tailored our expansion plan towards them. Next slide, please. Our expansion plan into Germany consists of a well-developed three-step strategy. Firstly, we will be focusing on drones for inspection and reconnaissance in the industry. Secondly, we aim to run a large marketing campaign. This includes mass social media presence, publishing articles, and promoting social responsibility. Finally, we will also need to hire a diverse team of primarily German employees to kickstart the German branch. These proposals will ensure ACSL a successful market entrance to quickly gain a foothold in selling to the public. I shall now hand over to Kate, who will explain the second part of our expansion plan.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Manvi. The second part of our expansion strategy is a proposed expansion into the agricultural drone market in Japan, beginning in 2021. The value of drones in the agriculture industry is predicted to be worth $32.4 billion by 2025. Furthermore, the market for agricultural drones in Japan is particularly strong for a variety of reasons. Firstly, agriculture forms a key part of Japan's economy, and Japan has an increasingly aging population, so demand for autonomous farming systems is increasing rapidly. ACSL also has strong links with both clients and legislators in Japan, which will make expansion into this new market substantially smoother. Because of this, ACSL should be able to expand successfully. Once again, we've outlined how ACSL can overcome a range of potential challenges in this area, including public fear of unfamiliar technology, miscommunication, and diseconomies of scale. Next slide, please. To fully prepare ACSL for the expansion, we've researched ACSL's main competitors in this market, using the same methods we used to research the German market. Nilework, Inc. and DJI are ACSL's top competitors. To enable us to compete with them, we flagged the principal points of improvement for ACSL and incorporated these ideas into our expansion strategies. Next slide, please. Like the German expansion strategy, the strategy for expansion into the agricultural drone market is split into three parts. Firstly, ACSL will need to expand its capabilities to allow design and production of drones for agricultural uses. The second part of the agriculture expansion consists of a $2 million investment into a company called Blue River Technologies, a research firm focusing primarily on technology for agricultural uses, to give ACSL first access to the latest technological developments. The last part of the expansion is a new marketing strategy, focused on the social benefits of ACSL's new technologies and promotion as an environmentally friendly business. I will now hand over to Adia to go through the financial projections and timeline with you.
Next slide, please. Thanks, Kate. We have produced a series of financial projections for our expansion strategy. These projections are a product of complex data analysis, drawing on data from ACSL, other drone firms, market data from governments and NGOs, and several other sources. To summarize, whilst the company's profits will rise, regardless they choose to expand, if ACSL follows our expansion strategy, they will see their profits rise far quicker. The exception to this rule is 2022, where the opening of a branch in Germany will lead to a loss of profit overall for the company. However, gains will be made in subsequent years, which will quickly offset this cost. Whilst the table and the first graph depict a realistic best case scenario, the second graph shows a reasonable standard deviation to ensure that for all the 10 views, including if both ventures are less or more successful than we have anticipated. Ultimately, by 2025, we expect the unlevered free cash flow to increase by over 1,000 million yen, a huge economic gain for the company. Next slide, please. We have developed a comprehensive timeline detailing every stage of the expansion, from when we start hiring new employees to when we start purchasing sensors. We've even included the date at which we believe ACSL should approach the Japanese government to discuss subsidies for the agriculture branch. It is important to note, ACSL's expansion into Japan and Germany do not occur simultaneously. Rather, the expansion into Japan occurs first, as it has far less initial risk and cost. Once that is up and established, which we expect to take between 1.5 to 2 years, we then focus primarily on the development of the firm in Germany. Roshni will now summarize our proposal for you.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Ajay. To summarize, ACSL's corporate global expansion strategy is a two-part proposal focusing on the launch of a branch in Germany and entering the agricultural drone market in Japan. expansion into both markets would occur alongside ACSL's current activities. The implementation of this expansion strategy can enable ACSL's profits to increase tenfold by 2027. ACSL is an innovative, reputable, economically stable firm primed for further growth. Implementing our expansion plan will ensure they get the profits and global market share they deserve.
30 seconds left.
Thank you for listening, and we welcome any questions you might have.
Thank you, guys. I think you guys are really brilliant presenters and you speak really well. I will now hand it over to the judges to ask their questions. We have 5 minutes.
Okay, I'd like to ask sort of about the, you explained, I think, very well about Germany being your target base sort of expansion outside of Japan, which is the domestic market. Have you sort of considered, or is Germany sort of going to be the European headquarters to expand further into Europe, or are you just going to keep it quite defined to those 2 areas for expansion?
Thank you for your question. Manvi will answer it.
Hi. That's a really very good question, and we definitely have chosen Germany because it is one of the most prominent markets within Europe. It is the second largest market within the European Union, and we think it's one of the best things to start our expansion into Germany, and then to allow operation to go into Europe. And we think Germany would be a great place to first start our initial development, and then we can slowly and surely spread across Europe to gain more market share and dominance. Thank you.
Judges, any further questions?
I think as a follow-up question from the first question from Janine, how do you see the drone market developing into developing countries?
Good question. Aja will answer it.
So we definitely looked at all the different markets, and we think that in Asia, what you have is a lot of firms who are selling drones with actually a smaller market. So in countries like Asia, you have loads of firms in China who are selling drones, but not a lot of demand comparative to countries like Germany, where the scale is definitely the other way around. So that's why we chose to expand first to Germany and then into Europe. We definitely would consider expanding into Asia. We think it's very important for the firm to eventually do that. But we think at that point, it has to focus on innovation because of the high levels of competition. And in order to do that, it has to have pretty big profits to be able to first fund the innovation. And that's why we chose first to expand to Germany, so we can make those huge profits, and in Europe, so we can make those huge profits, and then use those profits to fund innovation to go globally.
Any further questions, judges? No? Guys, I just wanted to clarify, I think there were some formatting issues with the slides. If it was it the case that the slides that you had created hadn't uploaded properly to this presentation?
Yeah, they actually, it was in PowerPoint mode, and we had done it on a PowerPoint, and I think the formatting was wrong, which is why it looked very blank. Yeah.
Okay,
a lot of our type doesn't turn up.
No worries. If you guys want, you can we can make sure the judges have a look at the PowerPoint presentation so they can see the full slides.
Would you like me to screen share?
No, it's okay. I think if we have the maybe you could send it to me by email. My email address is s.eheshti. So I'm going to write it down. It's a tricky one. I can't see the chat, but Madhav, I believe you might be able to share it in there, so the team can share it with me and I can make sure the judges see it.
So should I just put your email out here?
Yeah, my email address. So the team can send it to me and I can pass it on. I have to say, you guys did a brilliant job carrying on like champs in the face of that. I think it was really impressive the way that you weren't even phased and kept your talking points and everything. So good job, guys. And if there are no further questions for the judges, have you got the email address?
Yeah, we've got it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Please do make sure to check back in when we're going to be announcing the winners. We hope to see you here. And yeah, thanks. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Team 5, ID 365. We have Dominica, Maria, Paula, and Olesia. Welcome to the Tiger Global Case Competition Regional Round. My name is Soraya. Just a few ground rules before we begin. Make sure that when you're talking, you're not on mute because that might eat up some of your precious time. You're going to have 10 minutes to present your case. You are going to get a verbal and written warning when there is 2 minutes left and another one when you have 30 seconds left. I will be controlling the slide, so let me know when you want me to click through to the next slide. So without further ado, your 10 minutes is going to begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. My name is Dominica Sobel, and I will talk for the company and clients overview. After, Alessia will describe the problem that we highlighted and its possible solution. Paula will take you through the market research and risk management section. Marsha will talk for the R&D section and conclude our presentation. So let's solve the case. Next slide, please. Company overview. Firstly, the company is currently working in Japan with the government and the commercial sector. Secondly, ACSL has expanded to the US and Singapore markets in 2020. Also, we are working with other significant companies such as MNC Accenture. However, the quantity of national projects has decreased by 72% this fiscal year, as well as the revenue of mass production fell by 21%. Our customers choose ACSL for high-quality products and R&D services, as well as the sustainable advantages that we highlighted in the VRIO analysis, which is customized development and design, and special deals for government and big companies concentrated on mass production. After non-organized sustainable advantages would be a special agricultural technology, as not many drone companies are involved in this sector. Next slide, please.
A problem that limits our profits and market importance and solution to it. We have discovered a problem of spare capacity. Only 5 drones a month are manufactured when it's possible to produce from 30 to 50. This means that only 10% of our maximum capacity is being used. Moreover, our decreased revenue from mass production and smaller market share complicates overall competition. Our solution to this problem is expansion to other markets and development of new drones, such as agricultural drone, as well as we will be continuing on working on the air slider, already developed by the company. We have around 3.8 billion yen of cash unused, which we can invest in the expansion of NPD. Also, we recommend rebranding and segmentation of the market to appear as the most technologically advanced company and though dominate the high quality market. Our planned strategy should be in a 5 years timeline because the competitive and technological environment changes fast for the industry. Next slide, please. New product development. Our new product is an agricultural drone used to improve crop production and raise the rate of growth. This drone is also capable of making crop health assessment with help of NIR sensors. Moreover, we included special infrastructural installments to inspect the buildings, as well as warehouses and stock. Masha?
As Alessia mentioned earlier, we decided to continue the development of Air Slider. Air Slider is designed to investigate savage pipes. You can see the main description of the product on the slide. Price we decided to make higher than on the market as we offer high quality products and service connected with R&D. To promote our product, we will use different technological exhibitions, trade shows, and also we'll send samples of our product to our possible clients. Place where clients can buy our products are exhibitions, online show, or through sales department. The product will be presented on the international market. Next slide, please. And now a little bit about numbers for our new products. When selling price per unit is 5.5 millions, which is average because it all depends on the amount of R&D, service demand, and the variable cost is per unit is 3 millions. The break-even point for both our new products is 30 units. The efficiency of investments, or ROA, for air slider is 3.22 million yen per month on 300 million invested, and for agricultural drone is 0.965 million yen per month on 1,000 million yen, which is low for the company but is average for the industry. Next slide, please.
As one of our strategies is to expand internationally, we have modeled a market general overview to choose the right markets. Drones are bought by businesses and governments for various purposes. Infrastructure drones will take the lead in the industry, being valued approximately $45 billion, and are followed by agricultural ones, which will be valued around $32 billion. It is estimated that the drone market will grow at a compound annual growth rate of 13.8% to almost double by 2025. At the present time, the dominating drone markets are located in USA and China. However, Asia pulled ahead by the end of 2019 due to the localization of drones in India in 2018 and large growth of the market in Japan. We have completed the SWOT analysis for the main markets we considered. Indian drone market has extremely low competition, and we have a chance of selling our products to the Indian government. One of the downsides, India is a poor country, thus we might lose demand due to our high pricing. Russia is located rather closely, which will save us on product transportation spendings. What is more, Russia currently lacks high-level technology, which we can provide. Unfortunately, the industry of drones might not grow as much as we expected to, or it might collaborate with China instead due to their good terms with each other. We have also considered the USA, as we already entered this drone market and there is benefits for us. Since Israel, China currently has lots of sanctions. The USA has very strong downsides, such as high competition and high national production, which is why US is not our main focus of production. Even though the US drone market is growing, this also means that the competition is growing, making it harder for us to enter. As a result, we decided to enter Indian and Russian markets, as well as keep working on the US and Singapore permanent clients and grow organically in there. Next slide, please.
We will enter the Indian market by research and development. We will first take the majority of market shares from loyal customers and then build a monopoly. We are also planning to enter the market as soon as possible using our new launches in the agricultural, manufacturing, and infrastructure markets. As previously mentioned, technological advances in India are really slow, making it easier for ACSL to export. This is why we have no competitors and few substitutes, including labor and helicopters. Another reason of this was India banned the use of civil drones in 2014. However, they were legalized again in 2018, and the TGCC announced a licensing regime for the commercial use of these. However, we believe that this will be profitable and competitive, as the global drone market will grow from $14 billion to $43 billion at a percentage rate of 20.5. Next slide, please. Then we will also enter in the Russian market, similar to the Indian one, launching new models of drones at particular periods of time. However, the problem with India is that technological advances are really powerful, and therefore we have a problem because it means that we have more competitors. A proof for this is that during the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19 samples were distributed over a variety of distances using drones, and crowded areas were disinfected utilizing these. Next slide, please.
Financial results. On the slide, you can see the table of a financial projection that shows results for each of the new markets. So our financial and production strategy. In 2021, we will enter the market and the main concern will be investing in the new capital. In 2022, we will concentrate on increasing sales so that higher costs on the marketing and sales department will be held, as well as creating some exhibitions and fairs and presenting new products, air slider and the agricultural drone. In 2023, economies of scale development will be held to increase efficiency and minimize the production costs. 2024, we will raise the prices and rebrand. So we'll bring up a new R&D prices as well as position as the most technologically advanced company on the market with the highest quality and efficiently products. Advertising and marketing costs though will appear. 2025 will increase production potential by increasing capital employed in mass production and labor involved in R&D, as well as investing in the marketing and sales department so that the supply meets the demand. Next slide, please.
India risks and minimization. The first risk is that for drones to be used in India, we must install a special software called the no permission, no takeoff clause. This will therefore increase our business costs. Then we have problems with privacy, but this must be addressed by policymakers.
2 minutes left.
As previously mentioned, the income inequality that exists there, such as in areas in Dharavi, means that drones will not be able to be financed and our demand will be decreased. However, this is a macroeconomic objective that must be solved by the government.
So the main risk for the Russian market is that there are established drone companies as well as current low demand. However, private research shows that big companies are expecting and willing to buy high quality products and services so that they can enter the high-tech expensive market segment. Furthermore, Russia is a new market for us, so they might be high cost of creating a production plant and an advertising campaign. But we will pay in monthly installments and ensure that all the capital we need will be completely redeemed in 7 years, as well as the interest payments. Another risk for both of the markets is the development of new drones usually takes up to 3 years, so the conditions might change. However, we are developing the drone based on the previous models and already have the design and predicted features. So we are planning to launch new products in a year while entering the markets with old models as Mini and PF2. Next slide, please.
In conclusion, despite all the recent new markets, we believe that this strategy will lead our company through the growth and technological improvement. Our product placement strategy is to continue working with our old clients in US, Japan, and Singapore, but also start interacting with new in India and Russia. In Japan and India, government plus big commercial
30 seconds left.
and other commercials, B2B. From the numbers from the slide, you can see that the market share possible increase from 2020 to 2025 is 420%, which proves the success of our strategy. Also, we accept the net profit of 216 million yen after 5 years of working in our new markets. Thank you for your attention, and we're ready to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, ladies. That was really brilliant. You guys are very good speakers, and I can see you've put a lot of thought into this. We're now going to hand over to the judges for 5 minutes of questions. So who wants to begin?
I'll start here. Thank you so much, guys. Good presentation, very wealthy. I just get somebody to explain to me the revenues in between 23 and 24 actually goes down. Can somebody explain to me why it goes from 1764 to 1760?
Yes, so in 2024, we are planning to do rebranding and we are planning to have higher prices. So due to this, some of our clients might go to another firm, and so we will have lower demand, though we will have less revenue. But then in 2025, we will work on demand more, and so the revenue will though increase. And this year, we will just spend on investing in rebranding, so we will have another segment and we will have higher prices.
Thank you.
I've got a quick question. Thanks, ladies. Lots of information on there, really interesting, and you're all very capable speakers. My question is maybe one that's sort of a step backwards. Do you know why they're only producing at 10% capacity? So just the 5 drones a month? Seems like an awful lot of cost if you're not producing, you've got the ability to do that, but you're only producing 5 drones a month.
So thank you for the question, a great question. I believe that the demand is quite low. The company is new to the market and it's not pretty competitive, as it owns now only 0.5% of the market share. So they don't have permanent clients to fill out the demand of 30 to 50 drones produced. Also, I believe that the labor state isn't enough to produce more than 5 drones a month, and maybe they should expand to different markets so there will be more professional labor and they will meet more demand for the drones, so they will increase the production, and they will produce from 30 to 50 drones a month as they can.
Excellent. Do we have any further questions?
Yeah, I've got a question. Well done, ladies. I think you've put quite a bit of effort in terms of thinking through the solution. My question is, in terms of the one of the risks is the supply chain issues. How are you going to go about to make sure that you have a good after sales strategy to make sure that you keep your current customers happy?
Thank you for the question. It's a great question. So in the presentation, we have mentioned also the supply and some of the companies that we can work with, or they can be our suppliers. For example, in Indian market, we can like call with Garuda UAV, and the supplier might be the company called GSW. And so the same for the Russia. As a supplier, they can be Uralkay Urkami. And also we will control the quality of our products, of course, because we are going in high quality segment, and we will have another part of labor for this. And I believe in the R&D department, they will also control the quality of our new developments.
Excellent. Any further questions, judges? No? Okay. Thank you, team. You did a really good job. Please make sure to check back in with us when the winners are going to be announced. We hope to see you here. And yeah, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, team. Welcome. I hope you're looking forward to this. So yes, we're getting started with the second half of the final today, and we're looking forward to hearing you speak. So we have Team 6, ID 439, Theo, Tia, and Alina. Just a couple of housekeeping points, guys. I will be sharing obviously my screen and the slides. So when you want to move forward, just let me know and I will do that. You have 10 minutes for your presentation, and you will get a warning, written and verbal, at the 2 minutes and 30-second mark. So please get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Initial insights. The global drone market is expected to grow from $22.5 billion in 2020 to over $42.8 billion in 2025 at a CAGR of 13.8%. Tense political relations have become disruptors of global markets in global drone markets. Tension between India, USA, and China make it increasingly difficult for China to sell drones internationally. In the 2020 financial year ended March, ACSL has 1.2 billion yen in revenue and 241 million in net income. The drone market report predicts that India will be the fastest growing commercial drone market in the world. Next slide.
In this presentation, we will be answering one simple question. How does ACSL generate operating income through market diversification? It's been 4 years now and they still haven't broken even. Now, we don't know their business plan, but we can only assume their aim is to generate profit. We further divided this problem into 4 basic sub-issues. 1, the cost of production is way too high. 2, the product is way too complicated. 3, they don't have a global presence. However, the most concerning sub-issue is the SpaceX Starlink mission. Thursday, 3rd September 2020, SpaceX added 60 more satellites into Earth's orbit and aim to provide in the coming years high-speed internet all around the world. Now, stay with me. One of ACSL's key points of differentiation is its Cerebrum technology that allows drones to fly completely autonomously when signal is not available. This cutting-edge AI technology may be rendered obsolete, as all drones could potentially have signal in these most remote areas. So our solution is to form an exclusive partnership with SpaceX, and here's why. As Lina mentioned, heightened tensions between US-China as well as India-China makes it increasingly difficult for Chinese companies to sell their products internationally. ACSL are one of the only companies with such developed AI technology. Next slide. Now for our pestle analysis. Most macro environmental factors that may have a profound impact on ACSL's performance are political, economical, and social factors. For overview of today's globalized world, politics. US-China are in a huge trade war right now, as well as India-China border dispute has caused heightened tensions. Economical. US chances of banning Chinese-made quadcopters are becoming increasingly high as Amazon Prime Air gained FAA approval 2 weeks ago. And finally, social issue. Due to COVID-19 and the current circumstances, consumer confidence decreased sharply from 95.9 to 84.8. However, slowly increasing as the UAE announced 3 days ago a COVID-19 vaccine for frontline workers. Next slide.
Next, we look at Porter's 5 forces, where we determine the competitive intensity of the drone industry. We found that the power of suppliers is high because suppliers have good control over pricing of drone parts, and drone parts are generally priced highly in the industry. Existing rivalry is also high because the biggest competitors include DJI, Unique, 3DR, and Parrot, but these mainly are focused around consumer-based drones. The threat of new entrants is low because barriers to entry are very high as there is a lot of competition and very high startup costs in the drone industry. Threat of substitutes is medium as ACSL are leading innovators in their line of drone technology. However, there are still a lot of rivals that compete at the same level. Power of buyers is also low because buyers do not have any say in the price of drone products and it is all in the hands of the suppliers. Next slide.
So our competitive analysis.
The leading competitors in the market. It is very important to note that 3 of the 4 are based in a country that is currently facing political problems, talked about earlier by Theo, around their drones with the United States of America, which will give us as a company not part of China an advantage. As you can see, 82% of the market share by Chinese companies. Next slide.
In 1960, 60 years ago, there was 3 billion of us on the planet. Today, population size has reached 7.6 billion, and by 2050, the world must feed 9 billion people. The amount for food will be 60% greater than it is today, yet there's more than 818 million people who are chronically hungry. According to a study published by Zion Market Research, the global market for AI in agriculture is growing at a staggering rate of 23% annually, and is expected to hit the $2 billion mark in 2024, 4 years from now. This technology can increase crop productivity, cut the cost of growing, and produce healthier food with a lower environmental footprint. So what now? Well, it's simple. We need more food, and ACSL have this technology. They can easily develop in the agricultural sector because 1, they already did it before on a small scale with JSR and Accenter in the second quarter of 2020, and 2, they have a unique AI technology that can be tailored to boost efficiency. The country we recommend ACSL to expand to at first is Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria. And here's why. Partnering with local companies like AM Integrated Aerial Industries, who are based in Nigeria, use drones to provide farmers with precision spraying and gather data for predictive crop yield is key. And here's why. By partnering, ACSL will gain knowledge on local drone regulations, insight on market and customers, and 3, use connections to expand to other regions. For example, AM Integrated have links in local regions with countries like Gambia, Liberia, Cameroon, Senegal, and many more. Also, they have links to a more global market and as through international events like Expo 2020, where they were due to present. Next slide.
Our second recommendation is medical delivery to developing countries with challenged infrastructure. In 2015, 1.6 million Africans died of malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV-related illnesses, all which could have been prevented with basic medical care. As you may know, ambulances can travel at maximum speed of 70 miles per hour on proper roading. However, this is not the case in many places in Africa, and a drone can travel at 100 miles per hour. We recommend a partnership with the Californian company Zipline, as they work out of Ghana and supply many revolutionary technology for life-saving in Africa. The government invests $12.5 million a year into this company, as well as investors such as Goldman Sachs and Stanford University. ACSL's groundbreaking technology is perfect for the job. While Zipline is only based in Ghana and supplies blood and only other type of medicines, the whole of Africa could be invested into. ACSL entered a new market and could also supply other medicine that is not yet supplied by Zipline. Today, COVID is a raging problem throughout Africa. We could help with life-saving medicine for the pandemic. Our recommendation will help 2 good Millennium Development Goals: no poverty and good mental health and well-being. Next slide.
Our third recommendation for global expansion is sewage management in India. The current situation in India is that there's untreated sewage, which is the leading polluter of water sources in India and causes a host of diseases like diarrhea, which kills approximately 350,000 Indian children annually. The Indian government has major focus towards treatment, recycle, and reuse of sewage. The Central Pollution Control Board is working on sewage treatment and has made it their main target to improve by 2025. This provides an opportunity for ACSL as they can now provide the CPCB with new technology to meet their target by 2025 and improve the overall state of sewage management in India. So what we recommend is a partnership with Fluid Robotics, which is also based in India, as this will allow ACSL to generate revenue fast as the release of their air slider drone is in late 2020, and ACSL really needs this revenue for further funding in later projects. With Fluid Robotics technology, the drone will be able to map out the entire sewage system in major cities in India, such as Mumbai and New Delhi, etc. If this is successful in India, we can consider expansion into other South Asian countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Its broader impact will be in general health and environment, which is shown below. Next slide.
We created a decision matrix, and based our decision off the score, we decided to recommend agriculture in Nigeria and sewage management to you. With revenue flowing in shortly in an open market, we truly believe these ideas are the perfect situation for ACSL's challenges, especially with today's current situation. Next slide.
30 seconds left.
Here we've created an implementation timeline of how long each of these recommendations will take to implement, and we show how long it will take to develop the product, rollout and testing of the product in the market, and the full implementation of each recommendation as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you ever so much, team. Let me take us to see your lengthy appendix. Such a professional presentation. Thank you all very much indeed. So now over to our lovely judges for some questions, if you have any.
I can start it off if you like. That was a great presentation. I liked your sort of creative solutions that were all sort of consistent around that social good, which I think it's quite good to stick to a theme like that. My question goes back to you identifying that the cost of production of the drones is too high. Did you have any ideas about how you might be able to reduce that cost?
Yes, so the cost of production is obviously way too high. So we came up with two solutions. The first one could go on renting basis, because now what ACSL are doing is that they're selling their drones, but they could implement renting, as well as they could try lowering production costs through local manufacturers, depending on which country they decide to expand to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a question over here for you guys. Good job, excellent presentation. I enjoyed listening to you guys, but I am missing the numbers. So can you just give me an idea on the two recommendations you have, how much money this is going to bring to the table?
Yes, so basically, right now, ACSL are averaging around 5 drones per month, let's say. And they clearly have the potential to do around 40 to 50 according to their Bridge annual report. So if we do the math, right, at the end of the day, $150,000 per revenue for the agriculture and $200,000 for the sewages in India. Assuming that we are averaging around 40 drones on renting basis.
That's maximum capacity, right?
Yeah, maximum capacity. And then a minimum would be obviously $100,000 for the agriculture and $90,000 for India.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think wealth of presentation and well done about obviously trying to solve problems that are existing currently. My question is, obviously, you're talking about the renting of drones. And so how do you see the after sales servicing of those drones to make sure that your operations are operating efficiently?
So basically what we understood that ACSL, what they're doing is, the reason why it's so expensive is because they're customizing each drone for a specific customer. But the thing is, especially in agriculture and the sewages in India, the drones will have unique purpose. The drone will have one purpose, right? It will have one drone. There will no need for customization. So, and then if we rent the drones to with the help with local companies that know the market, the regulation, and at the right time, we will be able to rent the drones to different farmers and obviously bigger companies. And then what we want to do is to ensure efficiency. We will have obviously monthly checks of the quality of the drone and etc. to ensure that all are functioning well.
Adding on to that as well, the companies that we have chosen to partner with also have like different ways that they service their drones, which can be implemented into the recommendations that we gave.
Super. Okay, any more questions for team number 6? No? Okay, so thank you all very much indeed for all of your efforts and a wonderful presentation. Don't forget to join us a little bit later today for the decision. So please go away, refresh yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. I think we have everyone here. Hello guys, hi, welcome. So we have team number 7, this is ID 473. We have Yara, Shifa and Nuran. Welcome team. We're very much looking forward to hearing your presentation today. It's been a jam-packed day of fantastic content, so looking forward to getting started. A few housekeeping points. I will be controlling the slides, so please just let me know when you'd like to move forward and we'll do that. You will have 10 minutes to give your presentation and a verbal and written warning in the chat when you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds respectively remaining. Okay, so please get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dear respected judges and attendees, good afternoon. I, Shifa Burhan, along with my teammates Nurana Yusuf and Yara Al-Khalifa from Team 473 are honored to present our take on the Autonomous Control Systems Laboratory, or ACSL's global expansion strategy to expand into markets outside Japan. We will begin by introducing the company of subject, take you through an overview of the markets we have considered to expand to, and present our proposed plans on implementing the strategy. We'll begin with Yara. Next slide, please.
Autonomous Control Systems Laboratory, ACSL for short, is the only publicly listed UAV producer in Japan. ACSL has great resources and potential that could be used to expand into further countries around the globe. For the past 5 years, ACSL has been producing around 5 drones per month. However, ACSL has the potential to produce up to 30 to 50 drones per month. To increase the number of drones produced and decrease the number of wasted resources, we have created this global expansion strategy that we believe will assist ACSL by maximizing its limits and help create a stronger presence in markets other than Japan. Next slide, please.
Our global expansion plan can be summarized into 4 main steps. First, our main priority is to expand ACSL's human resource team. The CFO informed us that one of the main obstacles that have been in the way of ACSL's expansion is the lack of human resources, including quality representatives. We plan that ACSL will partner with Accenture, an organization that has had a relationship with ACSL in the past. They will aid us in the development of an accurate HR program. After forming a great foundation with a quality human resource plan, we plan to begin the global expansion process, starting with ACSL's gateway from the east to the west, to Australia, and ending with the hub of the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates. Between these 2 destinations, we will be expanding to the United States. My teammate Shifa will now elaborate on how we came to this decision. Next slide.
Before choosing the most fruitful markets to expand to, my teammates and I performed research for a range of unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAV, better known as drone markets, across different regions of the world. Some of the most attractive markets we analyzed included the United States of America, Australia, the United Arab Emirates, and China. Beginning with the USA, its drone market is forecasted to reach a value of $42.8 billion by 2025. With innovative financial incentives and some of the best research and development facilities, New Mexico stands as one of the most drone-friendly states in the US today. Moving on to our second region, Australia, a country centered in the Asia-Pacific UAV market, which is projected to grow at a compounded annual growth rate of over 15%. Australia has been established as one of the easiest countries to do business in globally by the World Bank. Additionally, it has been accredited internationally for its research and development centers in terms of beyond visual line of sight software, which helps control drones at distances outside the normal visible range of a pilot. The third market we studied was the United Arab Emirates, a country whose drone market has been valued at $1,635 million by 2025. The lack of foreign exchange controls and certain tax incentives make the UAE a desirable market for ACSL to enter. Fourth, and although a highly attractive market, our research on the consolidated UAV market in China does not provide enough incentive to settle there. We believe such markets can be a part of ACSL's expansion strategy after stability is achieved in the countries previously elaborated on. Now that we have highlighted the most successful markets to enter, my colleague Nuran will be discussing the top competitors ACSL will be challenged with. Next slide, please.
After analyzing the strategies that DJI uses and comparing them to ACSL, we noticed certain improvements that ACSL can implement. First is increased social media presence. Social media is not only a cost-effective way of marketing products, but it greatly improves brand loyalty and awareness. ACSL has done lots of community work this year, such as transporting daily necessities using drones. This act should have been posted on social media. It gives the public a positive outlook on ACSL, which has companies that are looking for drones to consider buying from ACSL. Second is improvement in manufacturing over time. DJI has established its own manufacturing facilities to produce the drones. This, combined with low-cost labor, allows them to retain competitive pricing. In the future, after ACSL has expanded further, opening its own manufacturing facilities would increase revenue. Finally, when it comes to pricing, ACSL is considered to have affordable pricing, and its key features are unique. But ACSL requires more marketing to establish these features in the mind of competitors. Next slide.
Overlooking competition in both formal and informal economic sectors is the main reason why it needs. In this slide, we have created a competitive landscape for Australia, the US, and the UAE. The purpose of this competitive landscape is to determine the strength and weaknesses of our competitors within our chosen markets, strategies that will provide us with a distinct advantage, barriers that can be developed in order to prevent competition from entering, and any weaknesses that can be exploited. After we have grouped ACSL's competitors, we start to analyze their strategies and find areas where they're most vulnerable. Next slide, please.
The slide presented in front of you demonstrates our proposed methods of entering the most favorable markets previously mentioned, namely the US, Australia, and UAE. We propose for ACSL to begin the global expansion with Australia by setting up a branch. The benefits of this include not paying certain taxes and lower associated financial risks. After that, we would like to rent a research and development center for the study of BVLOS software, which will help provide ACSL a competitive advantage in terms of advanced research over other local companies. Another benefit of expanding into Australia is the transition environment it provides and its low cultural barriers, helping Asian Pacific countries expand and adapt to the West. Prospectively, ACSL will enter the US as its second market to enter in this plan. We propose for ACSL to initially use a distributor as a quick route for a market, advertising, and establishing a consumer base, and once an increase in demand, to split from the distributor and form a subsidiary, which will help manage customer service and drone testing while also limiting liabilities and taxes. The UAE, the third market of this plan, is somewhat of a merge of the two prior market entry strategies. We advise ACSL to begin with a distributor for marketing and analyzing client demand before splitting from the distributor and setting up a branch. Opening a branch in the UAE provides a lot of financial advantages, such as their free trade zones and attractive tax incentives. The reason we have made distributors our primary source of marketing is because of the fact that they will help increase the revenue generated in steps 3 and 4 during ACSL's drone manufacturing process. Nuran will now explain some of the other market entry strategies we have considered and their outcomes. Next slide, please.
The diagram here presented shows effective methods to enter potential markets. But doing our analysis of ACSL, our team decided to enter Australia directly with a branch and enter both the USA and the UAE initially with a distributor. In the future, depending on developing circumstances of ACSL in these countries, other methods mentioned here might be very useful, but entering using these methods initially is a mistake because of high costs and low resources. Next slide.
And now for the part that everyone likes to hear, risks regarding this global expansion strategy. The first and foremost, the under or overestimation of market potential. It is essential to know the market's demand for ACSL's
2 minutes left.
products. Well, we propose that we start off with a distributor instead of establishing a branch in high-risk market. The second is foreign exchange. To reduce the likelihood of it occurring, what we propose is that we expand to countries with stable and high currency, such as the countries we've presented, Australia and the US. The second one of the most important ones as well is politics. We have purposely made our expansion diversified into different regions to reduce the likelihood of it occurring so that no one political risk will result into enormous loss of capital and assets. Next slide, please.
The visual presented on your screen provides a quick rundown on our proposed plans and when we expect to implement them. As elaborated, we will begin with hiring and training a human resource team initially in Japan as representatives for ACSL in January of next year, followed by opening a branch in Australia. 2 years from then, we will prospectively enter the US market using a distributor and establishing a subsidiary before setting a branch in the Middle East drone hotspot in 2027. It is important to keep in mind that ACSL's expansion strategy is not restricted to these countries. However, they will be the keys to entering the markets in the regions that surround them. Final slide, please.
Oh.
Thank you so much to the judges. We are now taking questions.
Lovely. Yes, thank you ever so much, team. What an amazing presentation. Fantastic teamwork. Very, very clear dynamic. So yes, let's take it to the floor. Judges, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thanks ladies for your presentation. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really effective the way that you outlined sort of an advanced HR strategy before you started launching into these new global expansions, which I don't think any of the other teams that we've have done that. So I think it's good to think about things like that, and also consideration of tax planning in your overall thing. So my 2 questions relating to this is, were you thinking that your HR strategy would be implemented through an HR consulting company, or is that something you would do internally? And on the tax front, I was interested that you thought there might not be any tax in Australia.
Excuse me,
All right,
can you repeat the last question? I couldn't.
Yeah, you said that there was, if you entered Australia, there might not be any tax to pay. So I just wondered if you could explain that a little more.
All right, I will take that question for you. Thank you. Regarding the taxes in Australia, there are going to be taxes that have to be paid by ACSL as a branch. However, taxes such as withholding tax will not be paid, and this is a special incentive for foreign branches in Australia. Taking your question for the HR team, because we've had a past relationship with Accenture, which is a multi-professional company for this purpose, we believe it would make more sense and probably be more beneficial for ACSL to partner with them in order to create an HR team, which could help market the company the best throughout regions of the world. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, fantastic. Any more questions? All right, lovely. Well, thank you ever so much, team number 7. And yeah, so much effort has gone into this very clearly. We're extremely grateful to you. So please do come back for the big decision a little bit later today. And we look forward to seeing you then. Take care.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much for this opportunity.
This is ID 506. We have Sachin, Parv and Siddharth joining us today, making up team number 8. So guys, welcome. My name's Chloe and I will be controlling the slides for you this afternoon. So please just let me know when you'd like to move forward and I will do that. As you know, you have 10 minutes to present to us this afternoon, and you will have a warning at the 2 minutes and 30-second mark at the end to finish. So please do get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sachit, and my teammates here are Parv and Siddharth. We are grade 10 students from GEMS Modern Academy, Dubai. In today's session, I will be covering the executive summary, followed by our analysis of the market and ACSL. Siddharth will present the key challenges along with our strategic recommendations, and finally, Parv will walk you through the risks and timeline along with the financials of the plan. So let's get into it. Next slide, please. In a nutshell, we shall be talking about how to take ACSL from local to global using ACSL's superior technology, high customizability, and high customer lock-in to capitalize on opportunities around a growth market, the new normal due to the pandemic, and concerns with Chinese products. With a 3-pronged strategy covering technology, market, and people, we address ACSL's key challenges. These are capital-intensive products, lack of international exposure, predominantly Japanese and technology-focused team, and lay out our recommendations to disrupt the market with a marketing push and global expansion into new geographies, alternative sales models, and proactively building new use cases. With our 5A game plan, aim, align, apply, accelerate, and achieve, we lay out a path forward for ACSL. So let's get into the details. In the next 3 slides, we'll go through a drone's eye view of our analysis of the market, company, and environment. Next slide, please. First, a market overview, which shows a robust growth market. Energy, transportation, warehousing, delivery, inspections are key sectors and applications driving this growth from almost 22 billion to 43 billion US dollars in the next 5 years. Vying for this market are a number of key players like Unique, Parrot, 3D Robotics, and DJI, a very strong set of competitors for ACSL. Next slide, please. Now, we have analyzed the organization looking inwards to understand the key strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. ACSL comes across as a sturdy company that is already a leader in a technologically advanced country like Japan. So, when it expands to other markets, it can build upon this strength. Of course, it has to work upon its weaknesses to capitalize on extraordinary opportunities arising out of COVID, China tensions, etc. Next slide, please. In order to take a 360-degree view, we look at external factors which can influence our journey. Current political tension, trade wars with China, global economic downturn due to the pandemic, changes in social behavior and higher acceptance of drones, artificial intelligence and its increasing use are some of the main key factors that we come across with respect to each environment. Our detailed analysis led us to identify critical issues or challenges for ACSL, which my teammate Siddharth will go through with you. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Sachin. Now let's look at the possible issues that ACSL might face in their journey from becoming local to global around technology, market expansion, and human capital in international Japan markets. The first issue, technology. Globally, ACSL has limited new use case and absence of cost-efficient standard drones. Whereas in Japan, the company has a need for new use cases as the world adapts to the new normal. Moving on to market expansion. Currently, the company is lacking the brand awareness, the market presence, and the local partnerships which are key for entering a new market. In Japan, ACSL lacks acceptance of unmanned flights beyond the visual line of sight in populated areas and are currently not aligned with the megatrends. Another key issue that we have identified is the lack of local representatives in regional markets and the company's need for proactive reach to customers with use cases in Japan. Next slide, please. Moving on, identification of key issues has given us the three-pronged strategy along with the 5 A's, focusing on core technology, market expansion, and human capital, which is very apt for ACSL global expansion. This convert strategy focuses on regions expecting high growth, indicated in green. Coincidentally, this also aligns with the ACSL business strategy to go full-fledged in the ASEAN market. Now, having aimed our three-pronged strategy and aligned with the ACSL business plans, let's apply these strategies for a successful expansion. Next slide, please. We have recommendations for ACSL to accelerate their global expansion. Firstly, around core technology. ACSL is a leading drone manufacturer in Japan, and they need to maintain their current position by developing standard drones for various projects like NIDO, which can later be taken as a reference for other countries. For market expansion, ACSL needs to strengthen and stabilize its operations in the US and Singapore due to the investments it has made. The company also needs to adopt a subscription-based service and leverage partnerships to expand its global reach and become alternatives to Chinese drones. ACSL must build localized teams for business development and have ties with tech universities to support the joint development. We firmly believe with the suggestions given, ACSL will be able to accelerate in their global expansion. However, every plan is associated with risks. Let me invite Parv to cover the risks associated. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Siddharth. Having looked at the strategic recommendations, let's now go through the things that could go wrong along the way and how to deal with them. The biggest threat to ACSL's core technology is the development of superior alternatives in growth markets. This can be addressed by diverse partnerships with drone tech trailblazers. In market expansion, funding for branding often falls short, and regulatory constraints could always affect growth. These risks can be handled by local co-funding and stage-gated investments. On the human capital side, to avoid flight of talent, we recommend employee stock options and skill enhancement programs. Next slide, please. We have prepared a tentative timeline for executing our recommendations, paying special importance to each proposal's time sensitivity. Within 3 months, we suggest initiating the subscription-based service and building a localized team to drive business development in Japan. This will help provide a strong foundation for global expansion. Within 6 months, we advise a drive in business development in the ASEAN region, positioning as an alternative to Chinese drones. This will help capitalize on security concerns regarding Chinese products. In 1 year, ACSL should develop application-specific drones, especially in conjunction with the NIDO project. ACSL should also leverage employees from its partner ecosystem as an extended team. In the long term, ACSL must improve safety, security, and beyond visual line of sight flight capabilities. Establishing as an OEM will also help improve sales and allow more resources for product development. Next slide, please.
You have 2 minutes left.
We have developed a financial model which includes business as usual, increased sales due to strategic initiatives, and corresponding expenditures. The first segment shows financial results of conducting business as usual. We used a 13.8% industry growth rate for sales, and expenditures are back calculated by maintaining the current profit margin of 57%. The second segment is our estimation for business on execution of our strategic recommendations. Sales is estimated from growth in target markets, and we have considered a conservative market share for ACSL. For calculating the cost of sales, we have assumed a reduction in gross profit as sales increase in line with the projected net profit in the ACSL Accelerate business plan. Additionally, the expenditure for each strategic recommendation has been estimated,
and includes both CapEx and OpEx, and also factors in the timing of implementation. The final segment is an aggregate of both business as usual and accelerated business. All things considered, by fiscal year 2025, ACSL will be able to generate a yearly revenue of 41 billion Japanese yen and a profit of 41%. We firmly believe that ACSL, with its advanced technology, complemented by the right strategies, will do to drones what Apple
30
did to
seconds
mobile
left.
phones. We as a team would like to share with you our key learning. Till a couple of weeks back, for us, drones were just big bird toys. However, having lived through the case for the last 2 weeks, our perspective regarding drones has completely changed. With this, we conclude our presentation and we would love to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much, guys. I'm sure the judges would agree. I thought that was fascinating. So professional. Thank you. So let us take this to the floor and ask fantastic judges if they have any questions.
Yes, I've got one question. I think well done to the. I actually loved your financial acumen in terms of how you thought about going about in terms of the finances. My question is, in terms of your three-pronged strategy, what informed you on the high, medium, and low markets that you want to pursue?
So we refer to market reports from a company called Motor Intelligence, and that basically informed us about which markets showed the most promising growth and which markets did not seem very welcoming for drone technology. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
I was pleased to hear your insight at the end that looking at a case in detail, that it's opened your mind and turned around your sort of conceptions perhaps before you started. So it's useful as a judge to get that feedback about what you've learned. So thank you for that. I like the way you followed that three-pronged strategy right throughout your presentation. So it gave it sort of that good foundation, to follow through on those three main themes that you looked at. I noticed in one of the slides towards the end, in 1 year's time on the timeline slide, it said that you would start expanding reach, and it did mention Singapore there. I was just wondering what other specific countries you were looking at in 1 year's time.
So we're mostly focusing on the countries in the ASEAN region, which include Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Singapore.
Excellent. Great. Do I have
I have a quick question over here. Just great presentation, gentlemen. I really enjoyed listening to you. The question I have is in regards to the production. Have you studied how you're going to boost the production of drones to actually help you with your growth strategy to go outside? Today, they're just producing 5 drones a month. So I'd love to hear from you. How would you tackle the production and have drones ready to be utilized when your plan works?
So we have not dwelled into this topic today, but I believe outsourcing like ACSL does today.
What are you trying to outsource here?
So if we do outsource these drones, then the capital expenditure would be much lesser?
So you're planning to outsource basically to actually complement your growth strategy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any more questions, judges? No? Okay, brilliant. Thank you ever so much, gentlemen. What a fantastic presentation. Thank you for all your hard work. Please do come back, of course, to join us for the big reveal of the results a little bit later. But thank you very much for now. Please do go away and refresh yourselves. Take a much deserved break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges.
Thank you, judges.
Team number 9, ID 552, we have Ira, Sanjit and Srinivas. Thank you very much indeed, guys, for being with us today. My name's Chloe. I'm going to be controlling the slides for you. And just a couple of points to note. Of course, you know you have 10 minutes to deliver your presentation to our judges today. You will get a warning at the 2-minute and 30-second mark towards the end of the presentation. But very good luck to you. I hope it goes well. And please get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We live in a world of rapid advancements and have evidently come a long way. In the next 5 years, drones would be the new normal and they would be used in most of our day-to-day work. We aim to pave the way for ACSL to enter Canada, which is one of the biggest and the most competitive drone markets in the world. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sanjit and I'm present today with my team, which comprises of Srinivas and Ira. Through our presentation, we will be discussing the Canadian drone market, analyzing the competition, suggesting possible partnerships and acquisitions and innovations, and finally, we will bring out our proposed expansion strategy. We believe that through this strategy, ACSL could reach even greater heights and expand its horizons. Next slide.
Next destination, Canada. First up, political ties. Canada and Japan have always worked well and supported each other and have significantly made progress together as seen in international institutes like WTO and G7 Summit, to name a few. Moving on to the scope of the drone market. Canada was an interesting choice, and we absolutely stand by it. The global drone market will reach USD 4.2 billion by 2025, and North America will lead it with 1.4 million drones, where Canada plays a huge role. The potential that the market holds with respect to the drone industry is immense. Next slide, please.
When we think about the expansion project for a company, the most important part of the decision is estimating the market size. This can vary from country to country and its economy, and thus it is essential to analyze it. As Canada has an above-par economy with top-tier companies doing extremely well even during difficult times, its market potential is huge. Throughout our presentation, you will realize that we aim on using ACSL's drones for various sectors like infrastructure, construction, security, and delivery. In infrastructure, ACSL should target companies like Enbridge and Suncor Energy that also have a past of using drones for their various purposes. And in construction, we recommend companies like CIMA Plus and DESO. Security is one of the crucial sectors. Thus, ACSL should target companies like Prince Alarms and Delp Securities. Lastly, delivery is also one of the sectors that ACSL wants to be a part of in the future. Thus, its first buyers could be HelloFresh and DoorDash. Next slide.
One of the most important points of discussion is the competition in the Canadian drone market. We have analyzed the potential competitors. Number 1, SkyX. It is a globally recognized drone manufacturer which mainly specializes in inspection, asset monitoring, and disaster management sectors. Their drones are known for their high endurance. Our next competitor is Unique, which creates multi-copter drones for use in inspection, security, construction, and mapping. Unique is renowned for great customer service and use of cutting-edge cameras. Next in line is Insitu. It is known for its high performance and cost-effective drones, which are used for emergency response and pipeline inspection, among other uses. Last but not the least is Skydio. It offers drones which use expert AI in autonomous drone piloting systems. Skydio's drones use 4K cameras for 3D mapping of surroundings. These are some of the strongest companies in the market, but we still believe that ACSL has an edge over these companies. Let's see how. Next slide.
We've picked 4 outstanding and eye-catching features of these core products that ACSL provides us with. Customizability, something that fulfills the human need for adaptation, is an extremely crucial feature of these drones. They are compatible with a wide range of sensors and can mount the same, therefore resulting in varying functionality. Drone efficiency here refers to its vertical takeoff and landing system, which reduces both time and cost simultaneously. Autonomous technology basically refers to the lack of need for human intervention and how these work in GPS-denied areas. Finally, we have Beyond Visual Line of Sight, or BVLOS, which enables these drones to access remote areas easily. Next slide, please.
New beginnings, Canadian market. We believe that a perfect drone should have a combination of top-notch hardware and suitable software. To meet these requirements, we have a few companies in mind. Firstly, Parrot. A partnership with Parrot could prove useful as ACSL could manufacture drones, thus increasing their profits and consumer base. Product diversification is very important for ACSL. Parrot could provide its top-class resources and inputs to manufacture new types of drones. The next two potential companies are Iris Automation and La Flamme Aero. Their software has a great advantage which could suit ACSL's small-sized drones. It also has various uses such as collision avoidance system and an advanced aerial mapping system. The last company that caught our eye is Canadian UAVs. When a drone is made, it requires testing. A partnership with the Canadian UAVs could help ACSL test their drones. This company buys drones from manufacturers and provides drone services as well as enhancement services. Next slide.
We have put together a set of upgrades that will help ACSL's drones get an even bigger advantage. Battery life. It is one of the most important features of industrial drones. We can potentially increase battery life by using battery replacing docks. These docks are small portable units which facilitate the quick replacement of batteries when the drone is running low on power. The airtime of these drones can be increased to make longer deliveries and assignments possible. The used batteries can then be recharged while the drone flies off for its mission. Load bearing capacity. It is a vital feature in delivery. We suggest that by increasing the number of motors in the drones, thrust would increase and thus the drone can bear more weight. We can avoid taking up space inside the drone by suspending these motors using heavy duty springs to attach them to the drone. Software upgrades. A few useful software upgrades would be the implementation of collision avoidance technology, which will help prevent accidents and property damage, increasing power efficiency by using smarter algorithms and adding a power saving mode to preserve energy. Next slide. Now coming to the main event of our presentation, our proposed expansion strategy. We have planned out a series of steps which will enable ACSL to expand its operations to Canada and gain a foothold. Let's start from the beginning, setting our base. In our opinion, ACSL should enter the Canadian market on or after 1st April 2021. Next, we attain the compulsory government certifications which are essential to start a business in Canada. A headquarter will then be established in Ontario as it is the heart of the drone market. Unique marketing strategies are the crucial difference between competitors in the market. ACSL's mission to liberate humanity through technology is a great way to show the customers that it has a strong vision for the improvement of society. Using this mission statement and advancing the belief of buyers could help ACSL establish itself and increase profits. An important part of the expansion plan has to be the innovation and diversification of products, which can be done by implementation of our proposed innovations. Next slide.
After ACSL proves to be a success in the Canadian drone market, it then needs to focus on acquiring or partnering with other companies to diversify its products and adding new features to expand its consumer base, and as always, increase profits. As shown in this graph, the value of the North American market, of which Canada is a big part, will see exponential growth by 2025. No business can possibly grow without newer ideas and constructive criticism, which is why our strategy will always be open to inputs. Next slide.
We will now examine possible risks that ACSL could face while expanding. There are various drone manufacturers present in the Canadian market who have relations with customers, which makes acquiring projects more challenging for ACSL. COVID-19 is a major obstacle. Most of the staff works from home, which limits their capabilities. This also leads to a slower expansion. The financial impact of the pandemic also means that several drone buyers might lose interest in purchasing drones due to monetary problems. Expansion of operations into a new region requires additional expenditure.
You have 2 minutes left.
General expenses such as headquarter construction, hiring a local team, and additional staff will also increase expenditure. Deploying battery replacing docks, purchasing and maintaining these docks may also increase costs. This issue can be partially tackled by requesting governmental concessions as well as financial support from other drone companies. This would be feasible as other drone companies could share these docks and thus share costs. These are potential risks that ACSL could face, but we believe that with the right mindset and dedication, they can be tackled. Next slide.
To sum our whole strategy up, here's a timeline of how things are going to play out. First, we do a competitors analysis. This will take place from October 2020 onwards. Then, we have the approval to carry us forward in the market. Then, the entry of ACSL in the Canadian market. A suitable date we felt would be after the fiscal year, therefore April 1st, 2021. We hope to see the headquarters in Ontario by the beginning of June 2021 and the recruitment of the local team take place. Moving on to the marketing, where we go ahead with search engine optimization while also investing in reliable advertising agencies. Finally, our acquisitions. We aim to start working on them after a year of the setup in order to gain a stronger hold upon the Canadian market, which would be July 2022. Now, to wrap our presentation up, ACSL's vision is the literal embodiment of progress, while they constantly lay out aspects of our future, where we don't need to risk the lives of humans or animals to explore, where we don't need to physically deliver items halfway across the world, and where we
30 seconds
better. The strategy that we have presented today does not compromise quality for quantity and works upon these values, missions, and visions that ACSL holds. And we hope it is a guaranteed path towards the expansion of this incredible company. Thank you. We are now open to questions.
Thank you very much, team. What a presentation. Excellent job. So let's take it to the floor and our wonderful judges. If you have any questions, please do fire away now.
I know you guys are, first of all, thanks. That was a really interesting presentation and you're all very enthusiastic, which is good to see. I thought, good analysis of Canada and I can understand the reasons why you've selected that out. I wondered if you considered the impact of drones on the developing world.
Actually, it's a little hard for me to understand what you're saying due to some disturbances in your background.
I'll send my question through to Henry and he can ask it because I've got a bit of noise in the background.
All right, ma'am.
That's okay. I think the question was in relation to whether you had considered the impact of drones in the developing world.
It wasn't possible for me to understand the question. Can you please repeat?
Okay, I hope I understood you correctly, Janine. So the question was, have you considered the impact of drones in the developing world?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. We believe that drones are going to play a big part in delivery, inspection, construction, manufacture, etc., and certain aspects of society in the developing world and the developed world both combined. So we have definitely looked into the impact of these drones on the developing world, and it has a great impact. In the future, by 2025, as we had already mentioned in the slide, our profits and the use of these drones will definitely increase exponentially.
So just to follow up on the same question, so you just trying to establish your business in Canada, and then 2025 you will consider going outside Canada? Why don't you just do it simultaneously?
So to answer that question, we believe that Canada is a good starting point. Like, as we know already that ACSL works in US, Japan, and Singapore as of now. So let's start with Canada since it is a more liberal and a free market. Eventually, depending on how much profits they're able to gain and how many resources they're able to expend, we can definitely look at options of moving out of Canada and moving into more countries. This would be the stepping stone towards further expansion into the rest of the world. I hope that answers your question.
My question is about the regulations in Canada. Can you take us briefly in terms of, have you looked at the risks of starting up a drone business in Canada in terms of regulations?
So in terms of, in terms of the regulations, the drone regulations in Canada, we have actually done an extensive research on that. before, because that was one of the factors for us to choose Canada as one of the key markets. So Canada is actually a liberal market, and it's also free for drones. So basically, Canada is also wants drones to be a part of their sectors. So that is why Canada has also wanted a lot of companies to use drones in various sectors.
So to add on to that, in Canada, the government itself has issued a notice in which they have invited drone companies from different parts of the world because they want to integrate drones to be an essential part of their society. As Canada has longer distances and a sparse population, drones are something that will definitely amp up their in their sectors and their delivery, their inspection, etc. And the government itself would like to make use of drones in their country.
Thank you.
Great. Any more questions, judges, for the team? No? All right, lovely. Well, thank you all very much indeed for all of your efforts this afternoon. It was a pleasure to hear you. Please do come back for the big announcement of the results in a short while. We look forward to seeing you online. But once again, thank you very much from all of us for all of your hard work.
Thank you so much for having
Just
us
one
here.
thing I'd like to point out was that there were some parts of the PPT where you could see the background in white and the text in white. Actually, that wasn't originally like that. It's just when you open it in Google Docs, it changes to that. So just wanted to note that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us today.
Welcome, team number 10, ID 667. We have Ariansh, Kumail and Tan. Welcome to you all this afternoon. We cannot wait to hear your presentation. Just a couple of housekeeping points, guys. My name's Chloe and I will be controlling the slides this afternoon. So please just let me know when you want to move forward and I will do that. As you know, you have 10 minutes for your presentation and you will get a warning, verbal and spoken, when you hit the 2-minute and 30-second mark towards the end. Okay, so please get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, esteemed judges.
We are team 667. Let us introduce you to the next pioneer in the UAV market, Autonomous Control Systems Laboratory.
Rising from the fragments of a university lab, ACSL is now poised to lead humanity onto the frontier of drone technology.
We will present to you the corporate expansion plan that will lead ACSL to become a major contender in the global bespoke drone market. Next slide, please. Thank you.
To expand ACSL's current scope of operations, we will require capital infusions. These will create expansion avenues that are mutually beneficial for both ACSL and the institutional sponsor. We have governmental contraction in mind for this arm of our expansion.
With the COVID-19 pandemic at large, governments are looking to employ drones for their benefit. What better short-term growth option is there for ACSL than to expand into the market for prevention and containment of the virus? We will delve into this later.
To strengthen our production unit, we will require more focus and investment in R&D. This will entail acquiring a 3D printing company to improve quality and decrease production delays. For the future, we envision ACSL as one of the major players in the galactic aerospace UAV market. Impeccable standards for technology and R&D are going to be key to off-world success. We also seek to expand by improving the quality of human capital and CRM. Next slide, please. Thank you.
We propose expansional alternatives to the development of ACSL's channel partner systems. The idealistic situation is to acquire Dragonfly's manufacturing arm, which has been put up for sale, and collaborating with Dragonfly as a channel partner. Dragonfly is a Canadian company that we shall elaborate on later.
Another possible route to expansion is a partnership with SpaceX to establish a market for off-world drone usage. This shall be elaborated on in the M&A section. Next slide, please. Thank you. Notable events in the coming years include 2 funding rounds from the Japanese American governments, in addition to the initiation of talks with Dragonfly, the Canadian 3D printing and drone technology company. Heavy R&D investments will begin in 2020 to enter the market for COVID-19 inspection and sanitization. Galactic Aerospace is set for ACSL's entry in 2025, culminating with SpaceX.
Sorry, Sorry to butt in. Apologies. We've lost one of our judges who's having some problems with connection. I do apologise for cutting in the middle of your presentation. She's just trying to log back on. If we can just mute ourselves, and I think we'll have to go back a few slides if that's okay. Apologies for this, but we don't want her to miss it, obviously. So just bear with us. Apologies for this.
No problem.
To see where it's okay. Sorry, technological problems always come back to haunt us at times like these.
Just a question. Are we going to be, be given the time that has been lost in this process?
Very good question. I think we will have to just start over again.
Okay.
To be honest, yeah, we haven't had this problem before, chaps. Sorry about this, but I think we're really
it's all right.
Start again. Obviously, we want this to be completely fair.
May I make a remark to one of my colleagues?
Of course.
Tan, could you move yourself closer to the microphone? You are getting a little distant.
Janine, welcome back. Love, I've never been so excited to see someone. Can you hear us okay?
Sorry about that, guys.
No trouble. No trouble.
Can we start again?
Can you hear everything?
Yes, I can hear. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, so guys, I'm going to hand it back over to you. Apologies again for this, but yeah, please do take it away.
Would you like us to begin from the beginning?
I think this probably makes sense. Let me
Thank you.
take us back to here. Oh.
Please let us know when we may begin.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to go now. Yeah.
Good evening, esteemed judges.
667.
Let us introduce you to the next pioneer in the UAV market, Autonomous Control Systems Laboratory.
Rising from the fragments of a university lab, ASCL is now poised to lead humanity onto the frontier of drone technology.
We will present to you the corporate expansion plan that will lead ACSL to become a major contender in the global bespoke drone market. Next slide, please. Thank you.
To expand ACSL's scope of operations, we will require capital infusions. These will create expansion avenues that are mutually beneficial for both ACSL and the institutional sponsor. We have governmental contraction in mind for this arm of our expansion.
With the COVID-19 pandemic at large, governments are looking to employ drones for their benefits. What better short-term growth option is there for ACSL than to expand into the market for prevention and containment of the virus? We will delve into this later.
To strengthen our production unit, we will require more focus and investment in R&D. This will entail acquiring a 3D printing company to improve quality and decrease production delays. For the future, we envision ACSL as one of the major players in the galactic aerospace UAV market. Impeccable standards for technology and R&D are going to be key to off-road success. We also seek to expand by improving the quality of human capital and CRM. Next slide, please. Thank you.
We propose expansion alternatives to the development of ACSL's channel partner systems. The idealistic situation is to acquire Dragonfly's manufacturing arm, which has been put up for sale as of late. Dragonfly is a Canadian company that we shall elaborate on later, and we seek to partner with them as a channel partner.
Another possible route to expansion is a partnership with SpaceX to establish a market for off-road drone usage. This will be mentioned later in the M&A section. Next slide, please. Thanks. Notable events in the coming years include 2 funding rounds from the Japanese and US governments, in addition to the initiation of talks with Dragonfly, the Canadian 3D printing and drone technology company. Heavy R&D investments will begin in 2020 to enter the COVID-19 market for inspection and sanitization. Galactic Aerospace is set for ACSL's entry in 2025, culminating with SpaceX's Starship. We shall elaborate on both in the M&A section. There will also be interluded stock liquidity periods for employees, though they will be encouraged to keep holding these bonuses as a financial incentive to motivate them. This liquidity period will only kick in at the end of each fiscal year, and we will keep referring to these key dates throughout our presentation. Next slide, please. Thank you.
DJI is ACSL's biggest competitor, representing 74% of the global market. DJI as an individual entity do not produce bespoke drones. However, Avetics, their channel partner, does. This is DJI's gateway into the bespoke drone market. Their drones are not as developed, so ACSL still has the upper hand, but with DJI's manufacturing resources, they could meet ACSL standards. Additionally, DJI has also partnered with Keswi, who specializes in mining and aggregate industries. DJI and their partners, however, are discouraged from use specifically in the US, with other countries likely to follow suit. This opens a gap in the market for ACSL. Moreover, specifically on their About Us page, Avetics state hidden costs and fees. They are misleading their customers, creating further mistrust that ACSL can exploit. Finally, we move on to Skydio and Unique. These are 2 smaller companies and do not offer tailored solutions. On top of this, they hold a relatively small percentage of the market in comparison to DJI. For these reasons, they are not high scoring and they are not of immediate risk. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Another factor vital to ACSL's long-term prosperity is 3D printing. Adopting such technologies will greatly decrease R&D prototyping time and final development costs. I cannot emphasize enough how much this will impact ACSL. We will be looking to partner with the companies specializing in plastic as well as metal printing to enable the development of strong complex configurations such as metallic microstructures. In addition, ACSL must produce less specialized bespoke drones to widen their product offering, ultimately leading to a higher revenue. The feasibility of such a move is exponentially increased when paired with 3D printing. Together, this will create a very healthy source of income for ACL. Conveniently aligned with the company's technologies, Galactic Aerospace is set to prosper as a long-term opportunity. Key features include autonomous flight and mapping, ACSL's point of strength with their cerebrum, cerebellum, and digital spine technologies. Next slide, please.
The first step to ensuring a successful M&A future for ACSL is to ensure that they diversify, not diversify. To make sure that this does not happen, we have come up with the 2 best partnership candidates for ACSL, all of which are mutually beneficial to both parties. At the end of fiscal year 2020, which is this year, we look to initiate talks with Dragonfly to acquire their manufacturing arm, which has been put up for sale as of late. Along with this, we aim to collaborate with Dragonfly as a channel partner. We have strong reason to believe that this symbiotic relationship shall kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only will we get the ease of expanding into the North American markets, we will also have access to Dragonfly's 3D printing arm, which will enable us to further specialize our drones. In addition, the combination of Dragonfly's AI systems and patented wing technology, coupled with ACSL's industry-leading standards, will help to put us firmly at the wheel. Our second partnership would be best suited with SpaceX. We are all aware of Elon Musk's radical dream to establish a human settlement on Mars. Due to the urgency of his goals, he has been willing to spare no cost in ensuring that they are achieved. ACSL's drones are already outfitted with the technology to perform inspection of the standard that is required to scout the Mars surface. As the AI in ACSL's drones is only going to become stronger, ACSL will slowly become SpaceX's go-to partner for off-world missions. We plan to put this part of our mergers and acquisition schedule into play during 2023, which is when SpaceX is due to launch their Starship rocket. Being part of missions like this also means that ACSL's rapport with the US government will be boosted and will also lead to further military contractions. Speaking of governmental contracts, next slide please.
Regarding COVID-19 prevention, ACSL will lend drones to the Japanese and overseas governments to disinfect, regulate public areas, and deliver medical supplies. ACSL already possesses the R&D and manufacturing capabilities needed to produce such equipment with thermal imaging, autonomous control, and payload delivery. We will approach the US and Japanese governments due to a high number of cases and investment seeking. The US is the most infected country in the world. For them to make a rapid recovery, they must be assisted in every conceivable way, including employing ACSL. In addition, the Japanese governments will be more incentivized to provide a pathway for national companies. The US government recently issued $84.4 million in funding for unmanned technology in the CARES Act, so funding will not be an issue. To begin this initiative, we would sell 100 drones to the US and Japanese governments respectively, making $15 million in revenue. Another solution would be to manufacture drones for the military. In the coming decade, the worldwide estimate for military drone spending is expected to be $98 billion, with R&D spending expected to increase by 30%. The Japanese government announced they would spend $372 million to expand its military UAV sector, and recently, the US spent approximately $7 billion. 90% of the military drone spending is for intelligence and surveillance. ACSL is specialized for this, as they already do inspection and have high-end cameras and software. To begin this initiative, ACSL would sell a total of 150 drones to the Japanese and US governments, making a revenue of $35 million. Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. Human capital is possibly the most important asset to a business because without the people of the organization is nothing. Therefore, we have decided that an important aspect of an international expansion plan is effective HR restructuring. We believe that employee retention is more important than being able to lay someone off. Therefore, we have come up with an intensive new hire program. The program will aim to acquaint the employee with the company policy and values to integralize them into the workforce. We have also decided to speed up the POC process by employing Atlassian's Jira software to enhance communication and speed up the process of client requests. Client relationship management is also going to be a vital supplement to our HR restructuring, as the people the company interacts with are ultimately the bread and butter of the organization. Not only will Jira help in synchronizing our research and executive teams, it will also aid in maximizing efficiency as a working unit.
Our final restructuring idea stems from bonuses in the forms of stock and stock options. As ACSL is already a publicly listed company, it is not going to be difficult to compensate employees with equity in the business. Not only will this increase employee satisfaction, it will motivate them to work harder and more efficiently. Next slide, please. Thanks. In conclusion, ACSL is in a strong position to fulfill specialist needs across a wide range of sectors. They will be assisted in overseas markets through public partnerships.
30 seconds.
With manufacturing capabilities gain the attention of governments. This will enable them to produce UAVs for the military and COVID-19 prevention.
Acquiring a 3D printing company and partnering with technology pioneers will reduce research and development prototyping time and development costs. And incorporating Jira into ACSL will greatly increase the value of human capital.
Our plan paves the way for the next 7 years in ACSL's fruitful future. I hope you take our ideas into consideration as part of your expansion. Thank you for your time, and we hope you have a good evening.
Thank you, and that's our presentation.
The appendix. Thank you ever so much, team. Absolutely brilliant, very slick presentation, and for your patience and all of that passion. So now for some questions. So over to you, judges. Anything that you would like to ask the team?
Yeah, I think I'll jump in. I think well done to the team. I like the energy that you have and the positivity that you shown during the presentation. My question and also a comment is that you as part of your presentation, you have government funding as part of your pillars to make success of this opportunity. But my comment is that with government comes bureaucracy, and with bureaucracy comes timing, and which means you don't have control in terms of where you want to go to. I just want to get your thinking in terms of why wouldn't you look at the open market, and after doing that, then obviously that will give you the opportunity for the benefits and offer the government. What was the thinking about government funding? I'm not clear on that. Can you please explain that to me?
Kamel, do you want to answer this, or should I go ahead?
I couldn't hear the question. Could you please repeat it?
Okay, hold on. Our idea behind going towards the government funding stems from the fact that COVID-19, in light of the recent COVID-19 pandemic, the world is facing immense pressure from all sides. People are not wearing their masks, streets are not being sanitized, and infection rates are going up and up, while the governments look for economic stimulus by reopening the country. Our idea behind going towards the government for this funding essentially lies in the fact that governments will stop at no cost to eradicate the COVID-19 pandemic, or at least keep the population safe from it. Our drones are perfectly suited to sanitize the streets of the country, to perform inspection, to ensure that nobody has a high temperature or is having the COVID-19 virus, and can also do payload delivery for delivering vaccines, because it's not an easy task to vaccinate 7.6 billion people. I hope that answers your question.
Fantastic, thank you. So, guys, a question from Janine, who's got a little bit of background noise. The M&A strategy is your overall approach. Which geographies will you move into when this is executed, and why?
So our mergers and acquisition plan aims to expand, to help us expand into the North American market, as we are primarily collaborating with a Canadian technology company called Dragonfly. Dragonfly will source us with a 3D printing arm, and this will help us further specialize our drones, because there are a lot of, because as we are a bespoke drone making company, we require a very high degree of specialization. This 3D printing will help us, the amortized cost of the 3D printing arm will help us lower development costs as a whole. And for our second part of our M&A schedule, we are looking to expand into the galactic aerospace market along with SpaceX. So that is not on the Earth as we know it. What our partnership with SpaceX will do is establish ACSL as a contender with the off-world UAV sector. And this is important as the entire world is looking to expand beyond the confines of what we call as the Earth. I hope that answers the question, Mrs. Manning.
Great. Any more questions, judges? No? Okay, well, thank you once again, team, for a fantastic presentation and for all of your patience. It's been fantastic to hear, and we are very much looking forward to hearing the result of this competition. Sorry, Tana, do you have a question?
Just to elaborate a bit more on the galactic aerospace, it should really be a point which is developed a bit further. With humanity's problems at the moment, things like global warming, people want to expand to other planets, and those planets have an atmosphere, and drones work in atmospheres. So from that, we have to find places to settle these planets, and we can't do that with satellites orbiting. We just don't have the resolution. So the way we've got around that is by launching drones, and we've actually done one this year. The Mars 2020 rover from NASA incorporated a $26 million drone. Now ASCL would be able to bring that cost down to hundreds of thousands, and that's the market we're looking at expanding into, because there will be a huge production volume in the next 2 decades, and this is really humanity's future. Yeah, it's cool.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. So our winners, fantastic. This is team number 116 with Harsha, Siddhant, Ahad, Raghav.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Let's go.
Congratulations. Absolutely brilliant. And our runners up, absolutely brilliant. Fantastic effort from Theo, Tia, and Alina in team 439.
Good job, guys.
Just a bit of a thing, if you don't mind. You know, guys, especially the judges, you know, thank you so much for taking your time out. You guys seem like awfully busy people, you know, because people of your stature typically don't have that time. And so thank you so much for, you know, taking the time out to hear us speak. It was truly
I would really appreciate it. Really
Good
appreciate
job,
it.
guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Amazing. You should all be so very proud of yourselves, and also our fantastic runners-up as well. It's a pleasure to listen to all of your presentations and extremely impressive stuff. Judges, would you like to say any further words to any of our final team members?
I'd just like to thank you all for giving up your time to take part in the Tiger Global competition. It's heartwarming and really inspiring for us judges to see the sort of breadth of talent that we have in the young people out here. So good luck with everything you do from here on.
I just want to say thank you very much. I really enjoyed every single presentation. The amount of energy and passion you guys have, you're set to good careers ahead of you. So all the best and keep up the good work. Just stay to the point. Too much information sometimes just confuses everybody. So be precise and be passionate about what you do. Good luck.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best, guys. I think keep up the energy that you have. Obviously, that will take you a long way, and obviously to the point, as Mo has said, and also what problem are you trying to solve? That is very important as well. I think, yeah, all the best for the next round. All the best, yeah.
Thank you so much, judges. So yes, on behalf of the team here at Crimson Education, it's been an absolute pleasure to see all of you bring your A game to the table today. Completely inspired, brilliant stuff. And don't forget to support the finalists as they move into the final rounds. We have lots of fantastic content as well coming up in the form of webinars. So do look out for your emails. Lots of events that are tailored to your sort of prospective career paths and so on. Did we have a question? Yep, Tan.
Hey, it said on the PDF that we were given that the 3 contenders from the regionals were going to be receiving prizes, and I was just wondering that the third team, whoever they may be, well, that they may want to know who it is. You know, otherwise there'll be a feeling of unfinished business.
Of course. If that was the case, then you will of course be made aware. I'm not across that myself, but if there is any such announcement, that will be going out very, very soon, as well as lots of information out to you all on Monday. And of course, if you have any feedback, questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the committee. We are so grateful to you all for all of your fantastic efforts. It's very much appreciated and seen. So thank you. So I think we'll call it a wrap there, everyone. Thank you ever so much for your time, and have a lovely rest of the day wherever you are. Many thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, judges.
Thank
Great
you,
experience.
judges.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.